Amanda, so you're tired?
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Okay, I'm super goddamn exhausted.
Yep.
So I think you know what that means.
It's time for hours and hours of talking into this microphone.
That's it. It's time to talk about dry video game news for 2.5 hours. Welcome back, everybody, to the RageSelect podcast. Your RageSelect time, Jab.
I'm Amanda.
The only upside to it, right, is that I don't know about you, Amanda, but I've been tired for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
There's never such a thing as it's like you know what, I was thinking about this today. You know what I really think I want is
What?
I need to reinstall the operating system on my soul because it's like that thing where like
Have you tried turning off and on your soul, Jeff?
I have not. When I was young, it was so fast. Everything was so fast, and then the older I got, it was like, well, this is slowing down. But like, you know what? I'll run this anti-malware coffee, and then I'll get back to where I'm going.
I gotta disk defrag my life.
That's right. And now it's just like it doesn't matter what I do. It's always slow to open. I don't know if I've got a virus or some spyware in my brain.
I got a Trojan in my brain.
Yeah, but it's not going to stop me from talking about video games.
Nothing ever does. We've tried. We're like, please. We're begging you.
Not rain, not sleet, not the dark of night. Well, especially not the dark of night. I'll talk about a lot of the dark of night. Yeah, so I feel like this is the first time in like a month and a half where, or maybe not, where my new format has been broken because there wasn't like a conference or like a presentation or anything. Yeah. So we just got the assorted trail mix of crazy ass video game news this week.
Bag.
Yep.
Nice.
What I will say though, I'll say this right off the bat. I don't know if people care about this or not, but I will say this right off the bat. Not one layoff story this week.
Oh, thank God. Dude, if this whole thing, I'm so tired, I've been up since 3:30 in the morning. If I had to sit and listen to and these people had a really, really bad time. This company is going under. And just be like, sad.
None of that. Of course, there's a little bit of AI in here, so brace yourself for that.
Nice.
But before we get started, last week I was so tired of watching. I actually watched a shitload of stuff last week.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it. I was like, I watched the new X-Men stuff. X-Men 97 came out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They put 2 episodes of that out. There's like the trailer for the new Star Wars show.
No, The Acolyte.
The Acolyte that was out. But the thing is, on Sunday I was feeling really bad because my dog was pooping inside and he was sick and I had a bad day.
Yeah.
Hungover. I don't like to nap when my dog has bowel problems because one time I took a nap and when I woke up it turns out that he had an accident and I, in my napping state, had been breathing it in for like an hour while I was asleep and I just couldn't get it out of my face for like a day.
So it's just like embedded in your beard.
Yes. So here's the thing. I watched 2 movies last week and you will never guess which 2 movies because...
Okay. Can I get a hint? Are they new or are they old?
They're old. They're both old.
Okay.
So I actually, it was really weird because on Sunday I was feeling down and I looked up I was just looking for like, what are some feel-good movies, man? And it was like all the normal stuff, Shawshank and blah, 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 blah.
I'm sorry,
like,
is Shawshank a feel-good movie?
Apparently, or
to me,
cathartic maybe? I don't know.
The one old guy that has a little bird dies.
Yeah.
He hangs himself. That's like the saddest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
It was all the stuff that people... I almost watched School of Rock because I've never seen it before.
Oh, that's a very fun movie.
But there was this Rotten Tomatoes list, and I got to the top, and there was this movie at the top. Huge audience score, huge critic score, like never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And it was this 1985 Japanese movie that's called Tampopo.
Oh.
And I'd never in my life heard of Tampopo before. And I looked it up. And it was on HBO Max. And I was like...
Oh, well.
Oh, okay. All right, Tampopo, let's see what you got. So this was a really weird movie because it's all about... It's like...
Is it animated?
No, it is not. It's
okay.
Just,
you brought up a poster, and the poster's like just drawn.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
Okay, so what it is it's a movie about these 2 guys that drive a milk truck. They drive a milk truck... and they're driving through town, and when it's raining, and they stop. And one of them is a very young Ken Watanabe, and they stop. It's a Japanese movie, by the way, and they stop at this ramen place that's run by this lady, and it turns out that her ramen isn't very good, and she decides, I really want to have the best ramen. And so it becomes this kind of whimsical story about these two truck drivers kind of figuring out how to get this lady to make the best ramen. And kind of like they go to different places and they sample the different noodles, and they try to figure out the different broths from places. And she's like training. She begs them, will you please help me become the best ramen maker? But then every so often the movie will just jog over here for 10 minutes into a little side story about some other person and food. So everything is about food.
Yeah, it all relates back to
and it's a farce, it's a comedy.
Yeah, it looked like one guy was like choking on his ramen and they stuck a vacuum on his mouth.
Yes. Yeah. It's very weird. It's very strange. Like there's this gangster in the movie that just him and his girlfriend getting off eating food off of each other. But there's like a 2-minute sequence where he cracks an egg and puts the yolk in his mouth, and they just pass the yolk back and forth between each other's
Were you just
mouths.
like, hang on, I think I landed on a different movie for a second.
Yeah, it's a very weird movie. It's got a very strange ending. It's kind of got this romance subplot that just doesn't go anywhere. But
oh shit, we forgot to finish it.
Yeah, and it's very weird. It's very strange. And
so what'd you think?
I think it was good. It was very different. It was just something I'd never seen before. So then I went and I watched, because a couple of weeks back, so there's a weird tie here. There's a whole saga. A few weeks back, there's a YouTube channel that does restorations of old movies. They do new transfers. They'll find like a 30mm print and then do a 4K transfer, not like an AI upsample, but they just retransfer a thing.
Yeah.
I talked about it a few shows ago, and recently this YouTube channel, they did a 4K transfer of Sweet Home, which is the Japanese horror movie that created an NES video game that was then like the inspiration for the first Resident Evil.
Yeah.
It was like a JRPG on the NES, and it's this weird horror movie about these people that go to this like.
Just try to autocomplete Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, that try to go to. Well, there's like a million, right? There's also like a Netflix show called Sweet Home.
Yeah.
But so this is on the Kineko video, and it's got the subtitles and everything. And so yeah, it's this documentary film crew that goes to this mansion where there was like a mural guy that had his last mural, and it's supposed to be haunted, and all kinds of wacky horror ensues.
Is it actually scary?
No, but I could see where it very much would be at the time. Let me ask you, have you seen Hausu?
No, I've seen clips, but I haven't watched it.
It's an older. It was like there was Japan doing their own style of horror, and then there was like the J horror renaissance of like the Ring and Pulse and all that stuff.
So it's that, I don't want to. It's gonna sound insulting, but like borderline nonsensical weird shit.
And no, not really. I mean, it all makes actually perfect sense. Like, there's a haunted house and there's a ghost and it's stuff. It's just, it's not quite as like, you watch a movie from the 80s and it's like, we
like feel the 80s on it.
We're like, we just hadn't gotten our craft to the punchiest, like grabbing you point.
Does it a little bit feel like, primitive man?
Sort of. But what's really interesting, well, I mean, okay, so the things I'll say about this movie, it takes a while for anything to really start happening. Once it does start happening, even then it's not like the biggest thing, but like there are some moments here. I don't think I have to worry about spoiling stuff for you.
Yeah.
But like there was this moment, it's incredibly gory.
Yeah.
And not in a lot, but there's this one moment where this guy just stands there and melts.
Yeah.
He just burns down to a skeleton and dies.
Indiana Jones has a melting man. This looks like it hurts more.
Yeah, well, it takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
The Nazis melted like a moment, whereas like this guy is just melting, and they keep cutting away to people screaming, and they keep cutting back.
And they cut back, and he's just a little more scorched.
Yeah, and there's several points where people melt in this movie at the very end. Like,
my God.
It just keeps going. No, I'm telling you.
It reminds me a little more of like Return of the Living Dead, like Tarman sort of painful death sort of thing.
Yep. And I mean, like
there's something kind of funny about showing the knees kind of shake.
It just keeps going. There's some really grotesque stuff. At the end, there's like a really big and interesting monster, like this kind of forced perspective. Kind of psycho ghost type of thing. Anyway, it's an interesting movie. It's an interesting cultural relic, especially if you're into like Resident Evil and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But what I found out was that this lady right here, that's the main producer, that's Tampopo. It's the same actress.
That's so funny.
That plays Tampopo.
Accidentally started watching her whole filmography.
I looked it up because her name is Nobuko Miyamoto. And then once I got done with Sweet Home, I don't know if you do this, but I looked at the Wikipedia page for Sweet Home. And what I found out was that that actress is married to the guy that directed Tampopo, this guy named Juzo Itami. And most of her movies, she was in with him. In fact, this is the guy that melted that we just saw.
Oh, that's hilarious.
He was wearing like older age makeup.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see his face for long. It melted right off.
So then I looked further, and that guy, this Juzo guy, he was the producer on Sweet Home.
Okay.
So, he produced that movie. Then I read down further, and I found out that apparently after the movie had been released, the original director, who I now have to look up because I have to make sure that everybody's name is in here, he took the film from the original director and re-edited it into his own.
What happened there?
I have no idea. And re-edited his own version of it that he put out. And the director of the original movie then sued him to get like the rights to the original like cut of the movie.
Oh, wow.
That's Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who also I've seen like a couple of his movies. He did a movie called Cure that's like a serial killer movie, and he lost. And so like that version of the movie is just gone. Like it's only this guy's edit.
Yeah.
And who knows, like because the lady, the producer, she's like the final girl. Like she survives all the way to the end of the movie. She's like the heroine of the movie. She's like Ripley or whatever. And I'm like, I wonder, is there like a cut where she gets killed?
Dies,
and then like he was like, you can't kill my wife. I'm gonna read this thing. But nobody knows because it was a long ass time ago, and
it was lost to time.
So that was my Japanese movie.
That was a whole adventure.
Extravaganza, yeah. You can watch Tampopo on Max, and you can watch Sweet Home on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Yeah. What about you? Watch anything? Play anything? Do anything?
I watched X-Men.
The 97?
Yeah. We started rewatching the original to kind of get back into the vibe of it.
Yeah.
You really got to mentally prepare yourself for like the 80s and 90s tasticness of the X-Men cartoon.
Sure. What did you think
of the two episodes?
Yeah.
I thought they were good. I hate Magneto Rogue stuff. Like I didn't like it in the comics, and I don't really like it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a filthy Rogue Gambit purist. But besides that, I thought it was good.
What do you think about the Logan and Jean? Are you also pissed off about that?
Okay, so here's the thing. I hate Jean Grey. I've always hated Jean Grey. Jean Grey and Cyclops and Scott are like the most boring characters ever, and they always get focused on for romance stuff, and it's like, that's like rubbing two pieces of toast together. I really don't give a shit.
Oh, look, it's the quarterback and the captain of the cheerleading squad.
It's so boring. And every time they try to make Jean like interesting, and they're
bad now.
Dark Phoenix or whatever, and it's just like, Jesus Christ.
Baddie.
Like, I don't. I don't care. Yeah, but I wish that they just weren't such fucking pussies. And sometimes the comic books will be like, actually, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Wolverine were a polycule for a while.
Oh.
And it's like, they should have just went with it. Honestly, it would have been great for me.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. Some of the voices are older, right?
I don't hear that. I don't hear voice stuff. It doesn't register to me. Like only in like a very extreme cases.
I don't hear age.
No. When we played a video game, Michael will be like, "Oh shit, it's Steve Bloom," and I'm like, I don't know. I mean,
I try to be good. John's like that. He's really good with it, so I try to be like conscious of it. But like, I think because we were fresh off watching the original stuff,
right?
You could hear the age between, like Wolverine is like a young guy, and now Wolverine is like a curmudgeon old man, and it's like the same amount of time. But besides that, it's fine. It's like it's not distracting or anything. It's more just I noticed it and moved on. I do wonder if it hurt the the artists, the animators, in some weird way, doing that opening sequence and doing that weird sideways, frontways running thing at the very beginning. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Because it looks so weird that I just feel like a modern animator wouldn't have done it like that, but they have to because it's like how it was done in the original.
I actually wish that they weren't so slavish about sticking to the style, the original thing.
I mean,
style,
this
because
whole thing is a nostalgia.
I hate it. I think the original X-Men cartoon show, like as somebody who went to animation school, I'm like, oh, this shit was done at a fucking rock bottom budget.
Oh,
the animation is fucking terrible. Like the art style is offensive to look at. Like I like those characters, but
controversial yet brave opinion though. Those designs were based on very specific like 90s comics, and I didn't think those designs were very nice either.
Yeah.
I was like, did you guys see? I mean, there was like a whole controversy because like they put Gambit in a crop top in the first episode, and people were like, you're making Gambit gay. And it's like, Gambit used to wear like mesh tank tops in the comics all the time.
If anybody was going to wear a mesh anything in the X-Men, it was going to be Gambit.
It's so fucking funny though. Like we were, I was talking to my coworkers about it, and I was like, they asked like, so in the comics is Gambit like bisexual or straight or what? And I was like, oh, I don't think he's ever said no when anybody's offered sex.
He's just horny. It's like he identifies as horned up. Like
look, if he's got a boner, it just depends on who says yes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I thought it was it was interesting to me was around the time when the animation was happening. That was when I was reading the comics.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they're pulling from on the show, it's like, oh, I've read those comics. Like, there's a part in the second part where a guy shows up in a silly costume that's a character from the comics. So it's like, oh, I have that comic where that dumb asshole
shows up in a silly costume. Really, an X-Men?
You don't say. They used Magneto's worst costume with the giant
fuck?
M on it. Like, I know it's classic.
Yeah.
Quote, 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 quote.
Just give him the hair, but like put him back in the regular, because he looks dumb. He looks real weird.
Yeah.
But I really love Storm with the Mohawk, always have. And I really like the Omega threat level they show her at. Because they fucking meant it. They were like, she's an Omega level hero, mutant. And she's a fucking threat. She's gonna take you out.
Yeah. The only complaint that I would have with the first two, and it could be fixed later on, is there are a lot of characters who are like, hey, look, there's Bishop. And he's gone, and there's no more Bishop in this episode.
Yeah, he like shows up.
Hey, look, it's Morph.
Yeah,
he had one line this time. Great, that's awesome.
He laughed. Yeah, he did the thing, and everyone claps. Yeah,
there's so much going on, right? That it's like some of the even Gambit has like
barely any lines in it.
Three scenes, even those two episodes.
Yeah.
Like, so.
But I mean, again, fresh off of a rewatch, we only rewatched like the first season and a half because it gets real crazy.
Right.
They do deep dive real quick.
Yeah.
It's crazy to get to Bishop on the first season. That's fucking nuts to me.
Yeah.
But it was like that, where they just be like, actually, this episode you're gonna follow these three, and then the next episode, and then you'll get like a slight B plot with Wolverine or whatever. And I think that's kind of what they're trying to go for as far as the feel of it.
That makes sense. Well, we've gone way over.
Oops.
Let's do some video game news.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I think a lot of this is going to go pretty quick this week. So.
Nice.
There was a leak that there's for the specifications of a PS5 Pro this week. So this came through a YouTube channel called Moore's Law is Dead, and then through an Insider Gaming article that basically like outlines some of the specifics of what is almost certainly going to be a PS5 hardware refresh. The PS4 got the PS4 Pro ish around the same time in the life cycle of the PS4.
Is the Pro when it's like just like a little cheaper and a little whatever, or am I thinking of something else?
No, so the Pro is like more powerful. Like
opposite of what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's basically what it used to be. I mean, who knows how it's going to go this time? But what it used to be was an excuse to drop the original to a less $100, and then the new one cost what the old one cost.
Yeah.
It was also for the PS4 and the Xbox Series X generation. I think it was like really making 4K solid on those as opposed to the previous ones. So there's a few specifics in here. The main thing is that there's a couple of bullet points. The CPU is not going to be any faster than it was before. There's more video memory, which means that you'll basically have like an easier time with some of that stuff. There's a high power mode where the CPU can get about 10% faster, but then it literally starts sucking power away from the video card. Part of this is, I think, due to their just way that the PS5 is programmed, that they don't want to like jack up the CPU to a much faster one.
Yeah.
The big bullet point for me on this is the upsampling mode. So brief primer. I'm not sure how much of this you follow. You know, a lot of those new systems, they'll render like at a lower resolution. They use AI to upsample to a higher resolution.
Yeah.
So you just, you render it at 1080, and then you blow it up to 4K by using AI to basically predict what's supposed to go between those pixels.
Yeah.
I think right now for the PS5 uses FSR2, which is AMD's upsampler, because it doesn't require hardware. The NVIDIA stuff all requires NVIDIA hardware, whereas the AMD stuff you can do with software. So a lot of games that use upsampling on the PlayStation use that. The thing that's kind of interesting and that could actually make a big difference here is apparently Sony has their own upsample technology that will be integrated into this new PS5 Pro that will do that work. And I'm always a little bit more... I don't know. I'm a little bit more trusting of Sony running Sony software on a Sony product.
Yeah, because it's literally meant for that.
Yeah, as opposed to it kind of being a stopgap. I mean, I'd rather that it just was a lot more powerful. But because I've been having fits recently with. There's just been a lot of games that kind of run like junk. Like this week, the Dragon's Crown 2 is coming out, and by all accounts, it kind of runs
like
not
garbage.
so great.
Yeah.
Well, not that. It just like it tops out at 30 frames per second on both the Series X and the PS5, and on the PC, it's got a whole other can of worms. But like, there's no performance mode to like tone down the detail, make it run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
That's not like a deal killer. Like, I'm still going to play that game, but I was kind of hoping that we were rolling into a generation where I don't really care as much about everything running in 4K. I really care about it running at 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Solidly. So, I think that this is interesting because it does light a fire under. Microsoft has made some comments over the last few weeks about there was when they started putting their games out on other systems, they came out to specifically say, no, we are still going to make Xboxes. We actually have the next one is in development right now.
Yeah.
It's supposed to it's going to blow your mind when it comes out.
It's going to knock your socks off.
Which would be good for them. I don't know. It's funny to think how like the PS5 is only now just starting to be super readily available for retail.
Yeah.
That it spent most of its early days like being very difficult to get.
Yeah.
And so the idea of then bumping it up, I'm wondering the biggest one of the things that has been thrown out there is that the reason this is happening is because Grand Theft Auto 6 will be coming out later this year.
Oh, and they want it to run on.
And they wanted to run it, and they want you to have like an incentive to have a system that could run it better than a default. Like you'll be able to sell pack-ins of GTA 6 and a PS5 Pro this Christmas. People who haven't gotten one yet will definitely want it. People that are gaming enthusiasts will want it for Grand Theft Auto. Even though by all accounts, it sounds like there was a breakdown of some kind of technologist people that were looking at the specs and saying games that were going to run at 30 frames per second on a PS5 are probably not going to be able to run at 60 frames per second on a PS5 Pro because it's got the same CPU, it's got the same processor in it, and just that uptick in memory is not going to, in video memory is not going to be enough to overcome the processing power that you need in order to get from 30 all the way up to 60.
So you think it's just like a little too little for
honestly, I think that
launch?
I think that what they're going to be targeting is more like it runs in native 4K because one of the bullet points that has been leaked is that this new Sony upsample tech can actually get up to 8K, which is I'm like
a different dimension.
I mean, you know, it's basically twice the pixels of what's in my 4K TV.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do we need that many pixels?
I don't know.
I don't even know if my eyes can process that many pixels.
Well, so I don't know because I can tell the difference. If you show me a 4K and you show me a 1080p, I can tell the difference. Like when YouTube is running in 1080p, I'm like, that's not. That's not 1440. Like
funny to me when you. Sometimes you'll be like, look at it. Look at the comparison between this and that. And you'll show me like 2 videos. And I'm like, I think it's the same video?
Yep.
It's not. And you're like, no, look. Look with your eyes. And I'm just like, I can't.
It's just me pranking people. It's just the same
this
video.
Whole time.
It's just that it's that office meme. It's just me as Pam back there. Like,
it's the same picture. Yeah.
No, I'm more sensitive to it also because I do a lot of video editing. I spend a lot of time like looking at the quality of like pixels and
I think
stuff.
it also helps that you have a 4K.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you have it right in front of you so you can see the difference when you're not. It's like when you wear glasses and you don't wear glasses for a long time and then you put glasses on. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, even my monitors are 2K monitors. They're 1440p monitors. So it's like I don't normally hang around at 1080.
I'm starting to think that I've just been looking at everything real blurry this whole time. You know when you like don't realize that your glasses are dirty and then you take them off and clean them and you're like, oh shit.
You go to the optometrist and they're like, you need a new prescription.
Yeah.
You've needed one for 10 years. And then you're just like, oh my God.
That's what you look like? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, you know, this is kind of at the top story for this week. And this should tell you that it's like kind of a little bit of a slow news week.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is about the time that you would expect. It's kind of weird that we've gone this long without a hardware refresh. Like, all of these consoles, like this PS5, this Series X, and even my Switch, like, you know, these two came out in 2020 and the Switch came out in like, what, 2018 or something like that?
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
They're not...
I like my favorite part about all of this is being a Nintendo fan is like I just feel like the PlayStation 5 should run and be like a stronger CPU and just really get you like the 8K and 4K and whatever, and then Nintendo's like, I don't know, whatever. It just does it have to look good? Not necessarily.
Well, you know, I don't play my Switch very much for that reason.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if a game is available on the Switch and then also on other stuff, I'm like, the Switch will be my last. Like, I mostly use it to play only Switch exclusive stuff.
Yeah.
When I absolutely have to.
I literally, I mean, besides just generally enjoying like Nintendo exclusive games, I do it for the handheld.
Yeah.
And nothing's gonna look super nice in handheld.
Yeah.
So it's fine for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's a long time ago when John and I were doing the podcast, like we had somebody when we used to answer questions, people that wrote in about, only wanting to play games at 60 frames per second. As somebody who shut out a lot of money for a PC, they only play on the PC. They wanted to go, and I will never forget. John had a vitriolic response to just like, who cares what the frame rate is? Like, it's fine. I will say that after this generation, where I've been able to, for the most part, play most games at 60 frames per second, it really does feel like a weird downgrade having to go back to 30. Like, I did it with Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom, which is the only Switch game that I've played like for an extended period of time that was like an action game.
Yeah.
And that was good enough that after a few hours, it was like, I don't care. I'm just playing this game.
Yeah.
But if I have a preference, I really do at this point. It's like, guys, I spent a lot of money on it, like, you know, the big LED TV and the PlayStation, and like, I'm giving you a lot of my money. Please be good looking for me, please.
I get it. I don't like. I don't care personally.
Sure.
Like, I'm not whatever, but I'm also not surrounded by it. Like, so it's like when you play modern games and then you go, you know what? I want to play that one PS1 game, and then you go back and it's just, Jesus Christ, look at it. Look. Like, you're already used to all the, like, everything looking so crisp and good that it would be a downgrade for you, but for us poors, not the little people with their broken eyes.
No, I mean, it's like, the thing is that I would like to be more comfortable with a less. What it really comes down to for me these days is that I have a hard time with, like, okay, last week I played this game. Last week I played Armored Core 6, and there was a billion lasers on the screen, and it looked fucking beautiful.
Yeah, you can't look
phenomenal,
at it.
And it was 1440p, and it was 120 frames per second on my computer, and it ran like a fucking dream. And then this week I install something that looks almost as good as that and doesn't have nearly as many lasers on the screen, and it kind of runs like ass. And I'm like, why do I have to put up with this running like ass? Like, I'm sorry that I know that game, it's not that simple, right? The game programming is difficult. Like, that Dragon's Dogma game is a Capcom game, and it's being made on the Resident Evil engine, and it's an open world game, and that engine was not made for a giant open world game, so it chugs. Well, okay, I didn't make that decision. Like, that's not my fucking fault. So, and I am willing to shell out a reasonable amount of money to get some more performance. Like, I probably will try to buy one of these when they come out.
That was going to be one of my later questions.
I mean, as long as I don't use that as an excuse to up the price, like. And hopefully...
man, so you're saying you're going to have like a spare PlayStation 5 just like lying around?
I might.
That's crazy.
I got a spare PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, Nintendo Wii, and PS...
No, we got some of those.
I think I got like 2 PS4s in this house, I think. I don't even know. Like, the regular and then the Pro.
Yeah.
You get the Pro and you're just like, what do you do with this? By the time the Pro comes out, it's like everybody has already got the thing. So, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see... I think this will probably sell super well because...
I think you're right. It's probably going to get bundled with the new Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
A lot of people haven't been able to get one, and now it's going to be a little more readily available. So the people that were like kind of forgot about it or have been waiting, it might be worth it to just wait until it comes out so that you can get that better version.
Yep.
As long as it's not, like $200 more expensive or whatever.
Yep, absolutely. Well, speaking of things that are $200 more expensive that people do not want, we also got the report this week that Sony is shutting down production of the PSVR 2. Because it just ain't selling all that well.
Yeah, who wants it?
I bought one.
Me.
But the thing is that I bought one, and it's actually a very good VR headset. But the thing that everybody complains about, like if you go to the subreddit, is like there just aren't that many games for it.
Yeah.
Like to the point where Sony is talking about seeing if they can hook it up to a PC to just make it like another headset that you can buy that you can use on a PC.
Yeah.
So this isn't like it's been canceled. It's more just like they're not going to make any more until the stock goes down a little bit because they're just sitting on shelves and they aren't going anywhere. What they really need, it would be Grand Theft Auto 6 VR edition or Grand Theft Auto 5 VR edition.
That would be kind of interesting.
Like just more games because they've got some, but I think that at this point, a lot of the studios that work with VR I don't think there's ever been like an extremely successful VR game, like one that just made a company a gajillions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, Capcom puts those Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7 all have VR modes. I guess Half-Life Alyx on the PC was somewhat popular, but I don't ever get the impression that even with all that, that the sales figures are not high enough. It hasn't broken through.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't asking for VR headsets, and I think a lot of it is just because they're still expensive.
Yeah, they seem like just above unobtainable.
Yep.
Because you have to have a PlayStation, which is already expensive, and then you have to have
PlayStation 5 costs $500.
Yeah.
PSVR costs $550.
Jesus Christ.
Like, you could buy an Xbox, you could buy a Switch, you could buy an OLED TV.
You could put a down payment on a car.
You could buy 2 of the 4K monitors that I've got. Like,
at least 2 hookers.
and good ones,
and
too.
Good ones. Yeah, not the cheap ones. You could get like 6 cheap hookers, but like, for the sake of everybody, 2 really good hookers.
Just nice ones.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
And then you make them play PlayStation with you.
Make them play Grand Theft Auto with you.
You guys want to play Gang Beasts?
You guys want to play PSVR? Oh wait, I didn't get that. Oh no. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good like wake up call. Also, like, let's be honest. I think that VR has not managed to bust out of the niche thing because I just think that more games that don't need a VR mode need a VR mode, in my opinion. Like, I want to be able to play Armored Core in VR, and I don't mean like I want the controllers to control the sticks in the thing. I just want to play the game
and be like inside it,
just behind it.
Yeah.
Like, it would just put me in the entire 3D world.
I feel like
Coach.
I watched you play a little bit of Armored Core. I think I would be like blah just the whole time. Oh god, there's so many lasers all around. Blah, like
I think they need more. I mean, look at by all accounts, I think isn't that Apple Vision Pro just fucking like, it was interesting for like 4 days, and then like a bunch of people returned theirs, and I haven't seen one in the world. Like, I don't know anybody that has one.
It just seems a little empty right now. Like, there just needs to be stuff, or like they should like get some indie developers to come up with some fun, just original IP stuff.
Well, I don't think they can do that now because everybody's in scrambling, fire people, corporate profit mode. So but I honestly, you know what? I honestly think that the way to do it is that there has to be a like, who needs to make a VR headset? Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo would make one that worked really well, and it wasn't that expensive, and it didn't make you sick, and like they would work it until they had fixed all those problems.
I think,
and then they would put it out with a Mario game that everybody would want to play. Right?
Nintendo does a great job of being like early to. I don't think early to a trend. I think they just decide they want to do something, and then they go, "We're just going to stick to it until we get it correct."
Yep.
And it really has worked out for them.
Yep.
And I think it would work out if they did VR.
Yep.
But I would not get it. I don't want VR, but like...
They toyed with it with the Labo. Remember the Labo had a Labo VR?
Yeah.
That we could actually... It was just play a Switch game like in 3D, like with the Labo headset.
With
it was very weird.
Cardboard headset. Yeah, that's not my favorite. John has it.
I've got them in my closet somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
But... speaking of updates and new stuff, Overwatch 2 is got a big kind of a, I don't know, like a presentation this week where they're doing, okay. You'll never guess the new innovation that's coming to Overwatch 2, Amanda.
Oh my God, VR.
It's VR. No, it's not VR. God, I don't know how the fuck they do this shit with a straight face. Starting next season, all the heroes are going back to free. You don't have to play the battle pass. All of the previous heroes that were in battle passes will now all be free. So Kyoko and Mauga and Batiste and all of them are now going to just go into the roster the way that they used to in Overwatch 1.
God intended.
Yep.
I didn't know they had. I dropped out before Overwatch 2, but like I didn't know you had to pay.
Well, okay, so there was like a battle pass.
Yeah.
And if you grinded all the way to like the middle of it, like you just, because there would be limits as to how much you could get in a day.
Yeah.
You had to grind and grind and grind, and then it would finally unlock that character. Or you could buy the premium battle pass that gave you like the first 30 levels for free, and that would unlock the character, and then blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, that's lame. Wow, boy, would I be pissed if I spent money to have it unlocked and then.
You know what? I'd be pissed if I spent my fucking time playing matches to unlock new characters.
Yes, but at the same time, it's weird to be like, I'd be mad that I played this video game that I liked enough to play.
Yeah. They're also talked about, I watched this thing in the background today. They talked about they're going to do, they got some new maps. They're going to do a bunch of refreshes on the current maps to make them better. They're all new maps that I don't recognize, so I don't care. And then they're also going to put, like, part of that battle pass thing was at the top end of that. There would be like these big premium skins that you could get out of the battle pass if you played Overwatch for 6 hours a day every day for a month, like, or whatever.
It's my new job.
They're putting those now like in a premium store that you could just buy with the Overwatch bucks or the Blizzard coins or whatever the fuck it is that you buy. What other dumb premium currency thing is? I look at this and smirk. I am like, oh, that whole system ain't working out for you.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's almost like everyone told you not to do it.
Yes. Well, it's almost like you were too fucking greedy.
Yep.
That's the problem. I've played several Fortnite battle passes to get the Doom guy or Geralt of Rivia or fucking the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. But the thing is that when you play the Fortnite pass, it's tuned so that you're always getting something cool. The thing with the Overwatch battle pass is it'll be like, you got to level 4 and unlocked a spray.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't.
Yeah, neat, I guess. This dumb.
That was that reward was there so that I didn't get pissed off when I opened up my loot box and it wasn't something cool.
Yeah.
You had to have something to put in there that wasn't like a prize, that was like a small prize. These are temporary stickers at the bottom of your Cracker Jacks where you're like, I guess it's fine.
Oh, wow, you won a high five.
Right.
Yay.
Yeah. When you turn the gotcha thing and you get like, a compass.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, all right, fine, I guess, whatever. So yeah, if you guys keep they've got their meter set too far to the skin the sheep side and not far. You need to pull it back to the, like, as far as I'm concerned, these monetization systems work best when you play them, you keep getting stuff and you're just like, yay, oh, that's cool, oh, and a music track.
Yeah.
But you get one like every hour maybe, right, as opposed to like every day.
Yeah,
like one a day, one an hour, man, I'll keep playing that shit. Like,
yeah, it gets really addicting. Well, I just got one and I said I was going to stop after this one, but like I'm already so close to the next one.
Yep. Let's see. Ooh, we're running low on time. I think we're gonna have to do speed round for part 2. There was also a story this week about Overwatch where you remember all that PvE stuff that they were supposed to have?
Yeah.
They were going to have story missions. They canceled the story missions, and then they just were going to have, like, the archives missions where it was just, like, players versus, it's like a team of 4 versus a bunch of bots to do this map or whatever.
Yeah.
The developers are relatively certain that those are pretty much canceled and not happening anymore. A person apparently inside who has access to enough of the financials says that, like, there's just like no resources being pushed in that direction. That the ones they announced last year were like they didn't, quote, do well enough for them to want to do any more. And then also apparently there's some bad like production / management stuff where they would go to people and say, okay, well, here's the missions that we want to put out, and they would look at it and go, it's not that Blizzard quality that we're looking for, and they would be like, okay, well, what should we do? And they're just like, just go work on it longer, and come back and let me know what you figure out about it. It's like
that feels gross.
Art hell. That's artist hell right there. So chances are that before too long, it's just going to be like, nope, the focus here is on heroes and skins and Overwatch League. And I mean, let's be honest, Overwatch 2 is just in a slow downward decline. Like it's not the hot thing. Nobody's excited to play it. Nobody I know is excited to play it. Hell, Michael and I got it in a fucking fortnight.
Yeah.
And I barely picked up Overwatch 2. I did like a few videos on it, and it was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Which is so sad, because the first Overwatch, man, we were
in it.
Yeah, we were having such a good time. Oh, a new character? Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, my God, they're doing a seasonal thing, and let's jump in. I got to get this new skin.
I want those Halloween costumes.
Yeah. And I don't, wow, really, really fucked the goodwill of your audience, or at least a chunk of your audience.
I'm going to be really interested to see what the fuck happens with Blizzard Entertainment, because as far as I can tell, it's like, this is something that I say all the time, but I want to keep saying it. It's like, I don't want to play anything they put out. Diablo 4, don't care.
It just doesn't feel like they even like what they're doing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it feels like they have the focus is not the customer, the focus is the shareholder.
Yeah.
And you can feel it when a company does that, because you're just like,
especially because Blizzard seemed very for their audience for a long time.
Yep.
And then they just there was a bunch of changes, and then you could tell what happened.
They got bought by Activision.
Yeah.
And then from there it started kind of just, there was for 3 years nothing but just controversy. So
the Activision effect.
Yep. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. I think when we come back, we're going to do a bit of a lightning round.
Nice.
Because we've got a lot left. But we'll see how far we can go. Some of these can be cut, but that's a lot of tabs.
Cut all the depressing ones.
There's actually not that many depressing ones. It's actually kind of interesting.
Nice.
It's not a bad news week. So.
Positive, happy news week.
I mean, maybe go all the way.
A good news only news week.
Let's go with a not bad, not depressing news week. I like
true neutral news week.
That's right. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. And we're back.
Here we are. We've been here the whole time.
Yes. Well, you've been here the whole time.
Yeah, I haven't moved. I'm staying on this spot until your couch has a little dip where my butt was.
Well, there's already a Jeff dip butt dip there.
I'm taking over.
You're gonna have to
manifest destiny, the butt dip.
You have to reform the butt dip. All right, we got more news, and we got to go fast, like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Hell yeah! Where are my chili dogs, Jeff?
Video game reference.
Oh.
A big thing happened with Apex Legends over the weekend. So some people were playing in an Apex Legends tournament, and the first guy that had this problem was just playing, and then suddenly it's kind of hard to tell from this shitty Twitter video. See all these dots here?
Yes.
Suddenly cheats enabled themselves on his computer, and he could see everybody through the walls during the tournament. And so he freaks out and he immediately quits, and he's like, call the admins, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, I don't want to get in trouble for cheating when I didn't do it.
Yeah. And then the second, there was another guy who his system suddenly had an aimbot turned on, and then when Apex Legends detected there was an aimbot turned on, they made it so he couldn't shoot his gun.
Yeah.
So he could only melee, and then he was like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
So they canceled the tournament. And they said they're going to reschedule it. They're going to look into it. So there was a group online that looked at this and said that the only way that this could happen is if so a lot of anti-cheat software has to run like at a very low system level outside of the game, because that's to make sure that you're not running some kind of app that then influences the game.
Right, yeah.
So it's to run at like a kernel level, like a really like deep level of your system. There's Apex Legends uses something called EAC, which is an anti-cheat software. So the first report was that this EAC had a security problem that was letting people run remote code through it on computers. Like their supposition was the only way for this to have happened would have been for this to have such deep access to your computer that it could then install and then run a cheat software in the background while you were running Apex Legends.
Yeah.
Now, so that was kind of the first story. But then after a little while, like the devs and EAC responded, and they both said like, no, this isn't running at that low of a level. Apex said like, we think we figured out what's going on. We're going to be running like some tiered updates to try to close this security loophole. And then there was a question of like, well, are they lying? Are they lying that this exploit exists because they don't want people to use it or to stop using their software?
Yeah.
Is this legit? Because nobody was giving any details as to what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like the group that originally identified this as that style of hack, they were just like, we looked at it. We looked at the video, the same video that I showed you. And the only way we could figure out that this would happen would be through that. And then both EAC and fucking what's its face, the people that make Apex Legends, the Titanfall guys, god damn it, they basically said like, nah man, Respawn. They said nah man, but they also didn't provide any additional information, ostensibly because they wanted to close the loophole
Right.
and not have it be something that got crazy while it was still open. But that didn't really like tell people very much about what happened. The strangest thing though was that when this hack happened, it was it had some like the chat was flooded with like, this hack was done by these two like hacker handles.
Yeah.
Well, those guys gave an interview to TechCrunch about this, and they said, or one of them, it was only one of them, basically said like, no, it's not remote code execution, what they call RCE. It's a fault in the source engine, which is what Apex is built on. And we did this like for fun to make EA fix the problem after we found it. And this is really interesting because I'm not sure how much you know about this, but they said that they did it live in a tournament because EA doesn't offer a bug bounty. So most companies will have some kind of payout for bug bounties.
Yeah.
Where like if you find something and you send it to them, then they'll write you a check because like, thank you for making us aware of that. We're going to fix it. And then because you just came to us, we're going to give you some money. Well, EA doesn't have this. So they were like, the only way that we could figure out to fix this was we had to do it. And we had to do it in a public enough way
that they have to respond
to it immediately. They have to look into it.
It's very similar to the people that like spray paint around like potholes or put stuff in potholes, and then the government has to be like, all right, we'll fix it.
Yeah. So not like, I mean, the thing is that they in their statement they talked about like, you know, we did this here because it's non-destructive and it's just like it brings it to somebody's attention, because if you just did it to somebody that was running the game, well, that doesn't bring it to anybody's attention.
Yeah.
And you had to do it somewhere where there were eyes on, and this was like a mid-tier Apex tournament. It wasn't like the finals, right? So they were like, this is basically the best thing that we could figure out. But then also what was frustrating is that even the hacker themselves is like, I will not tell you what the actual problem is because I want them to fix it. I want them to patch this bug. So I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. People probably won't find it on their own because it was a very specific thing. So kind of an interesting thing. I really wanted to bring it up more because there was a lot of, like, I felt like there could be a lot of panic with people. Like I saw some people on some Reddits that were like, don't install any EA games. Don't install any EAC, easy anti-cheat games. I was S rank at all the missions in Armored Core Armored Core comes up and says Armored Core 6 with a little EAC logo down at the bottom. So if any game that ran EAC had the ability to potentially run malicious code on your computer, like, because the ultimate result of that is, like, if you do have an exploit that's that powerful that you can run code, then you get into ransomware where they inject something that encrypts your hard drive, and then you got to pay Bitcoin to get it back. So I think that there was like some panic brewing, even though I don't know how wide this story really went. But I did find it interesting as I was researching it today that, like, the hacker group came out and said, like, no, we specifically did this to avoid a bad end result. So
we're trying to help you.
Yeah. Even though, I don't know, I'm always a little bit like, I mean, but did you have to? Like, did you guys try contacting them first? And then they didn't do anything.
I don't know. I mean, EA doesn't. It seem if they don't have like the bounty to incentivize people to tell them.
Yeah.
It might not be as easy to contact them. Do you know what I mean? Because, like,
sure.
I imagine places that do have those bounties have channels in which you know to go to.
Sure.
But EA doesn't have that, so it's just like, who the fuck? What am I going to email? Who am I sending the email to?
What am I doing? I'm going to put it on your forums under bugs.
Yeah.
And then, like, then everybody knows what it is where I submit the details. Or
some intern is going to see it 6 months later, and, you know.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of in this day and age, probably the only way. It's kind of like when people have a problem with YouTube, and the only way to really get it resolved is to go on to, like, Twitter and shame them, because then they will take notice, as opposed to just like, can I just email you? And it's like, no. You have to make a fucking scene to get anything done around here. Speaking of making a scene, the Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection launched last week, and it was a big old
shit show.
Mess.
Yeah, I've seen little clips from streamers where it just didn't look like a good time.
Nope, not a good time. I mean, you know, Aspire did it. I think that they're kind of a bad company, but this seemed like it was exceptionally rushed out. They came out and basically said there was, like, the biggest problem was just people getting dropped out of matches, people not being able to connect to matches, network stuff. So it wasn't specifically like, I mean, there were some other problems with the game. There were some graphical issues and stuff, but the main complaint seemed to be like, I bought this game to play it online. I can't play it online. Like, that's unacceptable. So they put out a press statement basically saying that, like, yes, they realized what happened. There's a bunch of problems with the network infrastructure. They've been working to get a patch out. And the good news is that they actually got a patch out last week relatively quickly.
Oh, good.
And apparently it solves a lot of, like, the specific networking problems. A few other bugs, but, you know. But I don't know. I always consider this day and age where people are like, hey, a new game came out. It's like, okay, well, roll D6, and if it's 1 through 3, it's broken, and if it's 4 through 6, it may not be broken. Like, I don't know.
Fucking nat 20.
Right. So, you know, it's like, especially too with, like, porting an old multiplayer game to modern systems. I don't know. This stuff is such a crapshoot.
Yeah,
but
it always seems really hit or miss.
Yeah,
I swear, it's like you can tell the difference between when it's made with love or when it's made with a deadline
Get
and a
it out
budget.
there.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's a good segue, because one of the other things that happened was apparently there was a user-made mod from the PC version that was left in their release version. Like, they just ripped the mod and then left it in the game.
Oops.
So part of this is that there's a character in Star Wars called Asajj Ventress. That's like, she's an evil Sith lady, and she was an Xbox exclusive, and so when the PC version came out, there was a mod maker that ripped her asset and put it in the game, but they couldn't rip the animations. Well, there's the light side Jedi, Aayla Secura, who has 2 lightsabers like Asajj has, and so they just took those animations and mapped them onto the model for Asajj Ventress, and that was the mod to get Asajj working on the PC. Well, turns out that on the versions that they put out, it's got this mod because that character is using those animations in the PS5 and the PC version, in all the versions apparently. just showing that like they used this mod and then they just didn't take it out before it went to ship.
Yeah.
Which again, I think Aspyr is a bad video game developer.
Yeah.
They were making the KOTOR remake. They were making the Knights of the Old Republic remake. And there was this horrible story where they went to show it to Disney. They had one meeting with Disney where they showed off this remake after like 8 months of development. And after that meeting, the creative director was fired.
I remember this.
The project was taken away and given to a different company.
Yeah. That's funny.
So I don't think they're a very good company. I don't think that. Well, here.
Don't cut corners, guys.
Let's take a look here.
Uh-oh.
Let's just take a quick look at what games they've made over the history of their. They're mostly a port studio. It looks like they're mostly just port stuff to Mac. In fact, I think I looked this exact same thing up a little while back.
Yeah.
But it's mostly just porting games over to Mac or let's get up to later. Layers of Fear, Stubbs the Zombie.
I do love
Public
Stubbs
Commando.
the Zombie.
They did that Lara Croft Tomb Raider 1 through 3 collection that just came out.
Oh.
Which was okay.
Yeah, I don't remember anybody really caring about it.
Yeah, I don't know. This it's not my favorite company in the world.
Yeah.
But
forgettable.
Speaking of that Knights of the Old Republic remake, Saber, the company that is making the Knights of the Old Republic remake, just extricated themselves from the Embracer Group. So Embracer Group bought them up when they were buying up a shitload of stuff. They missed their funding. It's been the whole bloodbath.
Yeah.
So Saber exercised some kind of, I think Aspyr wanted to, or Embracer wanted to sell Saber. Saber has the guy that owns the place has some kind of investment group. So the guy that owns Saber is also part of an investment group, and then that investment group bought Saber back from Embracer Group.
Okay.
So like they bought themselves, basically, which I guess is not like you're talking about business shit, right? Like it was I think a $500 million deal, which like might as well be infinity to me. Like I don't, I will never be around $500 million.
You put it all in a bathtub.
But
dive into it like Scrooge McDuck.
Ow, it's so pointy. Saber, though, they're like an actually profitable company. They actually make games that people want to play as opposed to Aspyr just porting shit.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that we were just going to shit on Aspyr this whole time.
Well,
this segment is the fuck Aspyr segment.
Hey, they didn't get shut down after the colossal, problems of just porting like a 10-year-old video game to a different new console. But this is actually a really interesting story because the thing is that Saber dragged a bunch of other studios with them as part of that bundle. They bought out not only their own contract, but the contract of Nimble Giant, Sandbox Strategies, 3D Realms, New World Interactive, Slipgate Ironworks, Madhead Games, and Fractured Byte, as well as, I believe, 4A.
Saber's like, I'm not going to do what everyone thinks I'm going to do. Just flip out. All I want to know is who's coming with me.
They also brought 4A Games, which does the Metro series, which is like kind of first person. It's bought Zen Studios, which is the pinball. They make little digital pinball games. Apparently, like there was an option in that sale to take like more than just them, and so it was like the difference between 270 million and 500 million, and Saber was just like,
fuck it, we'll just buy it all.
Let's just bring these guys. But like the idea that 3D Realms, it used to be like this powerhouse gaming studio, is just getting passed around.
I wonder how they feel, the people that are in all these studios feel about it, if it's like huzzah, or if it's like it means nothing to them.
I think that they would be happy because Embracer's been gutting anything they've got left. They've been firing a lot of people and canceling projects left and right and making people port 10-year-old Star Wars games in like 2 months and then not doing it right. The thing is that out of this, Embracer kept, because there's a big tranche of like games, studios. So Embracer is keeping Tripwire, Beamdog, Tuxedo Labs, Demiurge, Shiver, Snapshot Games, 34 Big Things, and Aspire.
Oh. Well.
So what's weird about this is that this has got to be such a weird nard kick, because the thing is that Aspire was set to remake one of the most popular Star Wars video games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
They fucked it up so hard that it got transferred over to Saber, who was also under Embracer. Now Saber has purchased their contract out of Embracer Group, so Embracer Group has now lost any
connection to that.
Yeah, any profits from this remake. Well, there's actually, it's really complicated and I can't understand it. There's some part of this deal is that some of the profit will go back to Embracer for certain projects that started under them.
Yeah.
Obviously, because they put in funding for it, and so they don't just lose everything. But yeah, I mean, this is what I have in lieu of people getting laid off, is people
buying themselves,
yeah.
buying their freedom back. Good for them.
Pretty much. Let's see. I love this is really interesting. So GDC happened last week, the Game Developers Conference, and we've got a few stories from that. But we always get a few spicy snippets. So the two guys that made Dwarf Fortress, who are just I don't know do you know what Dwarf Fortress is?
Not off the top of my head.
It is one of the nerdiest games.
Well, it sounded real cool until you said that.
It started off as an ASCII game where you get a bunch of dwarves and you have to make a mine, and you have to mine for resources, but then you have to build showers and kitchens and stuff, and all your little dwarves are AI and they all go around. The thing is that it was made by these two brothers, and they're the dorkiest fucking
they
nerdos.
look like nerds.
Because
they definitely look like people I would have seen at the comic book shop I worked at.
Yeah.
No offense.
So they worked on this thing. I mean, this thing was a thing when I was a teenager. They've been working on it for that long. And then last year before, another company came in and basically did a whole graphical interface for it so that it no longer was a text thing, a text box, basically.
Yeah.
And they put it on Steam. And it sold a shit ton, and it made these guys basically a one-time huge payout where they basically just work on this nerdy game for the rest of their lives, and they don't have to fucking bother with anything anymore. They can just do their passion project until it's done.
I want it.
So they're at GDC, and people asked them about all the layoffs, and they said, well,
like the layoffs of other companies are doing right now?
Yeah,
okay.
The layoffs of people at other companies. And their quote, what they asked about that they're the owners, right? And so does the fact that you someday you might have to lay off your own employees, does that give you any empathy towards the owners of these other companies, since you guys own your own company?
Yeah.
And the response was, quote, "No, I don't fucking think so. They could all eat shit. I think they're horrible and that they're bad people."
Oh shit, am I gonna buy this game because these guys said that? Maybe.
Here's some more. They said,
have some more.
"These decisions, they don't sound practical. They sound like they're driven by greedy people trying to make some kind of venture capital thing work out. There's a stench of rot at the top of things where the reasons people get laid off is because of funding structures and bad incentives and stupidity. That they shouldn't fire." They also said that they shouldn't fire because their company will fall apart, but I guess maybe that helps someone's bottom line somewhere or gets the right air inside the right golden parachute.
Nicely said.
I think it's really funny. I love it when regular people get a lot of money and it's just I don't fucking care. I just say whatever the hell I want to. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to go after these guys on Twitter. And if they did, these nerdos, who gives a shit? I'm going to go make my dwarf game that has a realistic fluid physics model inside of it, but just the math, not graphics, just the math of how does an underground lake get pumped to support dwarves, and how many buckets of water can you get an hour if you have this style of pulley attached to these buckets.
That's amazing. I adore them for that. I think it's really funny.
Yeah. I tried to do a dojo on it one time and we had to stop because it was this is not...
Yeah, it's not that kind of game.
It's not going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of stuff that happened at GDC,
Go on.
Ubisoft showed off their. So of course, Ubisoft is the one that wants to start like jamming AI into their shit like as fast as possible. They showed off this little demo that they made where you're basically talking to these characters that then respond via AI. So they're like, there's a little scenario. They're trying to get you to join the resistance and let's do a heist and stuff like that. And this guy's trying to convince you to join the resistance. You say out loud, I don't know, man. I got a wife and kids. I don't know if I want to join the resistance. He's like, because there's always a big pause for the AI's talks. He's like, I understand what you're saying. But you know, it's like it's a passion for all of us for freedom. And if we're not free, how will your wife and kids be free in the future? Blah 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 blah. This is early days. And this well, one, I lived through this shit when the Kinect decided that like you want to talk to your video game, right? And I feel like somebody needs to take these guys aside and go, no. I'm going to sit here silently and clackety, 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 clackety. Like, I don't want to be like, Garrus, do you want to go on a date? And then he's like, yes, Shepard, I think that I would be interested in hanging out with you sometime. Like, I don't want to talk to my TV. I want to hit the date Garrus button and then do it.
It's kind of weird. I like having the options. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be saying. I'm not a LARPer. This is playing video games and like LARPing are two different things, and I don't want to fucking role play like that.
Also, AIs are belligerent. So like during this heist part, I watched a little bit of this where the guy was trying to come up with other things, like he was trying to force the AI to accept his dumb plan. And the AI kept saying, let's keep brainstorming. What else could we maybe do to get into the upstairs window?
Does it not come off, I haven't heard it with sound, but does it not come off a little Dora the Explorer? Like very, you know, and how can we rob this bank today? Very good. Like,
so the thing is that I keep looking at this and going, you guys, okay, AI could be used to do like facial expressions, right? Like, I don't need it to talk to me. Just let the people write the dialogue, but then like make the lip sync AI like so that it's better, you know, make some of the micro expressions on the face, assist your animators with AI.
That's the thing. Like we were talking about AI before we started. We could have done a whole podcast on an AI discussion, but utilizing it as a tool and not like replacing the writing or replacing a person who's creating. Like if you have an artist and you give it to the artist to utilize it as a tool, AI would be 10 times better and most people would be less like against it. But it's just this like it's such an egregious way of using it. Like
it also sucks because the large language models are weird. They don't understand. They don't know what they're saying, right? There's no actual intelligence there. It's like a parrot that talks. Like it just is figuring out what the best next word in the sentence would be. Like that's how LLMs work. And the thing is that it's like, quit trying to make it the whole thing. Like
also, you know, some idiots online are gonna do whatever they can to make those AI say the dumbest things.
Well, like, I know it's gonna be fucking hilarious. I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be great. Somebody's gonna figure out a way to make it have a conversation with itself. And it's just gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait for it. That's one of the reasons I love this shit is because it's come up.
So funny how fast people get abusive. Like, they're just like, oh, you don't like it? Well, we're gonna make the dumbest thing we've ever made.
There's a whole thing on. I think it's like. It might be Reddit, where they all just started saying like bazinga all the time because they're like the AIs are mining our conversations, and so if we just keep saying bazinga, then the AIs will just start randomly inserting the word bazinga into their LLMs, and you'll be like, there it is. That's a large language model. So I don't understand why they can't just use this. Like, because I'll be honest, one of the devs made a pretty good point where they said like, to the anti-AI people, you know that most video games have some form of AI in them, whether it's driving the NPC actions or deciding what comes next. Like you go back to Resident Evil 4, adjusting the difficulty, or like giving the player a little bit of a heads up, or just like, you know, doing correction on there's a lot of integrated automation that's in there that could technically be called AI.
Yeah.
It's just when they go to this, it's like they make the jump from like, let's use this thing to help our faces look better, to like, well, you just want to talk to your video games, right? I'm like, I don't want to do that even if it was written by a person.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3 did that with the Kinect, and I didn't want to say that shit out loud.
Yeah.
Boo. Anyway, we got to go real fast through this because also at GDC we had the State of Unreal, which was basically, I think you and I talked about one of these, where it's basically like Unreal has a little conference where they just talk about all the new stuff that's coming. Yeah. It was interesting. I actually put the whole thing on and I watched through it. It's an hour and a half long. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here, but I'm just going to hit the high points because we don't have time for everything.
Yeah.
Part of it is they've got a new, well, they're doing AI chatbots as well. They have a whole series of call and response stuff. They've been trying to shove that shit in. With NVIDIA or with Unreal, it makes a little bit more sense, I think, but because it's the engine. So if you build it into the engine, it'll probably be better than if you have to build your own interface to an LLM.
Yeah.
A lot of, though, their AI stuff was based on like lip syncing stuff. And the lip syncing that I saw, I mean, it doesn't work because we can't listen to it. It looks okay, but it's not quite right. It's like the mouth positions aren't correct. And this might be I might be really sensitive to this because I have had to manually lip sync stuff.
So what do you mean by position? Like they're saying the words in the wrong part of their mouth?
No, it's like your mouth makes, when you go to be an animator, you learn that there are 7 mouth positions that you need to know. There's like a ah, a, oo, like a the, where your tongue, you can see your tongue is on the back of your teeth.
Yeah.
And what you do is you switch between those phenomes and then you animate in between them to make them work. It's like the wrong phenome. It's like when they're doing a cha, their mouth is all the way open instead of like seeing their teeth.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't quite line up, and it's also could just be bad encoding or something, but it just didn't seem to work quite right.
Yeah.
So I think they need.
So would something like this speed the process, and then you could go in and tweak it and fix those issues?
Almost certainly.
Do you know what I mean? Where if it's like you've generated it, and now if you care enough, you can
go in.
You can fine tune it.
Yes. Well, the big thing for this is that if you could do it automated, it means that you can have your lip sync be in any language, so that if you when you ship it to China and they're speaking Chinese, their mouth is actually moving correctly.
Yeah.
So, let's see.
You don't want it to look like a spaghetti western because I love it when things look like a spaghetti western.
Wait, this isn't the right article. This is the article. Okay. Epic is putting MetaHuman in UEFN. I know that those words may not mean anything to anybody. UEFN is the Unreal Engine like creator. So last year they did a thing where they took Unreal Engine and then they made they took Unreal and they put the editor for Unreal inside of Fortnite. So you can basically go into Fortnite and you can make I can't have this on screen at the same time. I just have to describe the stuff.
Yeah.
I can't try to
There's
show
a lot
you.
going on.
Yeah. Okay, so MetaHuman is Unreal Engine 5's like really, really, really good looking people. Like I'm pretty sure those Viking guys I was showing you, those were done in that. It's a separate app that you can make. Last year they showed a demo where they had the lady that plays Senua in Senua's Sacrifice. Yeah. She literally held up a cell phone and did like a little thing, and then it mapped it directly onto that.
I remember that, yeah.
And that was a MetaHuman rig model that she was. So they're a lot like they're way better than Fortnite. They look like real people as opposed to like cartoons.
Yeah.
So they are going to be integrating those models into the thing in Fortnite that lets people make games inside of Fortnite.
Yeah.
Which they've already added. Like you can make the game look better, so they have a demo that they did where they have like you can use these third-party clothing apps and it makes the clothing drape like it should. They're going to be letting you change the camera so you can go into like first person. They're adding the entire physics engine from Fortnite into their editor so you can use that for realistic physics.
Ooh.
They also have a frame blending animation mode. It's hard to describe, but basically you set a bunch of poses like for different movements, and then as your rig is moving, it'll look through that library and find the best one for the next like step that your character is taking. So like if you want your character to be running, if you want your character to be like running with their knees like up, right, you would make those motions, and then the rig engine would automatically make their legs do that.
Yeah.
And the more you have of that, the more dynamic your characters are. And so they're integrating that into the next version of Unreal. The next season of Fortnite is going to be the first time that they've done everything they've done is all made inside of the Fortnite editor, like by them, but inside of the Fortnite editor. So like technically any of this could have been made by anybody.
Yeah.
As opposed to using like dev tools that nobody gets access to.
Yeah. Interesting.
They're going to be adding all the assets from Fortnite Racing, Lego Fortnite, and Fall Guys into the library that people could just use to make shit.
Oh, fuck. I want Unreal so bad. I never knew I had any sort of making a video game bug in me until any time we talk about Unreal, I'm like, I really want to get my hands on it.
Yeah. And then there's going to be, and then because they won their lawsuit with Apple, they're going to be putting a straight up Epic Game Store onto Android and iPhone that have the 8812 creator split. So anybody that puts a game on your phone through their store will get 88% instead of 70% because they busted
won that
shit.
lawsuit. Hell yeah, baby.
They'll also be bringing Fortnite back to phones, which it has been delisted from phones for a long time.
Okay, but I don't care. My phone can't handle it. Actually, probably could, but
they also showed a little bit of Dune Awakening, which is the kind of survival game that they're making in Unreal 5 in the Denis Villeneuve Dune universe. Which it was a little bit, they talked a little bit about, apparently the big thing with Unreal that's even more impressive, and sometimes I can't fucking believe Unreal, is that a lot of movie studios are using it now for previs or even for just like full on making the thing because it's enough that it could, it's strong enough that it can do that now. Because of the lighting tech and like here they show off a lot of like they had to have an engine that would deform sand.
Yeah.
And this will. So like
man, that's nutty. That's fucking neat.
Yep.
Somebody get me a computer and also Unreal. I don't have anything to even start this.
So yeah, all that is happening and it's coming next month. There's even more to it. I recommend anybody who's actually interested in it, go look at it. Oh, you know what they started with? Across the board optimization. Everything is faster. The ray tracing is faster.
Yeah.
The all of the particle adjustments are faster. Like everything is loading faster than it used to. They actually started with something really big, but it's our first trailer. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. And it's really big. And I recommend anybody that's interested in that, go watch the full thing because it's really interesting what they did. So yeah, that was the big old Unreal presentation that happened.
Nice.
In other Epic Game Store news, the troubled game Dark and Darker is coming to the Epic Game Store. So this is a company, a Korean company called Nexon. A bunch of people left Nexon and started playing this game and created this company called Iron Mace and started making this game called Dark and Darker. It's like a dungeon crawler. Nexon decided that they had started working on that while they worked at Nexon and stolen assets and sued them, which didn't go well. And they've been embroiled in back and forth Korean court drama.
Yeah.
But one of the things that happened was that it was on Steam briefly and then Steam delisted it because Nexon asked them to. They currently offer like a beta for it as like a torrent that you can download, but that's not a good way to get games to people.
Yeah.
But apparently Epic is like, we don't give a shit. We'll put it on our store. Like Epic has crypto games on their store. Like they really don't give a shit.
Epic, never change.
They're just looking for any way to like Oh, will Papa Newell not put your game on his store? Come over here.
Yeah.
Come here. I'll give you like $10,000 and you can put it on my store.
Yeah. This is another nice example of like competition is good.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, I mean, you can't get that game there. You can get it here.
Yep. It's not up yet, but there is like a wish list page. So
Nice.
go check it out. Speaking of weird old games coming out of nowhere, Red Dead Redemption 2 got a big update this week. And I only mention this because
Do people know that game came out quite some time ago?
so long ago that I've already done the second longest sequential in RageSelect history on it with Jason Murphy. There's only a 2-year break between
Well,
the last 5
sometimes
episodes.
you need a little bit of time in between, you know?
The main reason I'm talking about this is because they put HDR10 plus support into the game. That's a very specific like monitor video card combination that does like really nice like color grading and stuff. So if you've got an HDR10 plus setup, it also did a bunch of bug fixes. But like, I don't know, man, if you haven't played Red Dead 2 by now, are you really gonna?
Yeah.
It's not like it does anything for the online mode.
I mean, yeah, I guess maybe it's more for people that want to replay it, but they want to replay it and it be prettier and run better.
Speaking of patches, we got the patch for Stardew Valley 1.6. It is titanic and enormous and should be an expansion pack, to be honest.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It's got like a shitload of new content. It's got like new dialogue, like thousands of lines of dialogue that NPCs will now say, like when you give them gifts or in specific situations.
But you have to talk into your controller first before they tell you.
It had the guy that made it basically said like, oh, it's going to have one new festival. It's got like 4. There's like a new sub-quest. There's like new side
like
quests.
undersold it.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
Well, he's one of those Dwarf Fortress guys, right?
Yeah.
He put out Stardew Valley and made a shitload of money because not me, but like some of you people fucking love this game. I'm not a Harvest Moon guy.
I've never touched it. I don't know anything about it. Every once in a while I'll get a TikTok and it'll be like, did you know you can marry this person in Stardew Valley? And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this game is about. What do you mean marry?
As I understand it, it starts out as a farming game and then it becomes like a lot more kind of like Animal Crossing, but then also I think there's like some adventure game stuff, like go into a cave and there's a secret in this town, but also fishing and grow some carrots.
There is a good chance I would play it and then get stuck on the farming and never grow past it. And everyone would be like, did you do all this and that and this? And I'd be like, I have turnips.
I think if you did that, and I can't say this for sure, but my gut says that if that happened, you would just find the Stardew Valley only farming subreddit.
Oh, yeah.
And hang out with the people there who are just like, don't care.
Yeah.
Just want the carrots. That's
sometimes,
all I want.
like to me, a cozy game sometimes is I turn my brain off and just do simple tasks.
Yep. But this means that Concerned Ape can get back to Haunted Chocolatier, which is the one I really want to play. So, good. City Skylines 2 is finally getting the beginning of mod support. So, City Skylines 2 came out, and it's been just universally fucking hated. It's got like an eighth of the players that the first game has on Steam. It's like... And one of the problems that they had was that it launched without mod support. Mod support is huge for these types of games. But they're adding the first set of the first mod support, as well as a bunch of bug fixes and some DLC into the next update that's coming out soon, along with the Beach Properties Asset Pack. Which is funny because it has like, there's obviously a bullet point in here. They're talking about the houses they're showing off. Like, it's got American style houses. It's got some residential zones. It's got 30 European buildings. It's got signature buildings. It's got 4 palm trees.
4 different palm trees.
Which is like, obviously this is a marketing bullet point.
Dream of California. Oh, no.
Are you singing the Red Hot Chili Peppers in my presence?
Yeah. It's the most Californian band ever.
I don't know. What about Wax's California song that I don't want to move to Southern California? What about California Girls by the Beach Boys? That's a pretty California song right there.
That's kind of Californian. California adjacent.
Anyway, March 25th is when this is coming out. I think it's just the beginning. It's not like full mod support. They're trying to dig themselves out of a hole because like the game is buggy as shit.
Yeah.
But people want mod support. And it's
so
like,
they're
well,
will this make you not mad at us?
Also, people paid for like like an enhanced edition that has extra content that's supposed to be coming out. So it's like, well, if you like, they just talked in this article about if you give people the content for free as an I'm sorry, well, then you're screwing over the people that spent the $80 on the deluxe package.
Rough.
Let's see. Bungie is in a lot of trouble. I should have put this right next to Overwatch, but it turns out that the director on their Marathon reboot game that they're making is gone now. It was like taken off that project, and somebody new is working on it.
He's mysteriously disappeared.
There's a lot going on. Everybody should go read this like Forbes report, because there was an insider at Forbes that said if the next Destiny 2 expansion doesn't do like gangbusters, they probably will not have like the funding to be able to finish that Marathon game. They got bought by Sony. Apparently the entire board of directors is going to quit in 2026 when the last payout from the Sony deal comes through, in the hope that like, okay, well, you guys can deal with this Marathon game. We're all fucking going to get our parachutes on and get out of here.
God. I hate rich people.
Yeah, they had a few other games in development. One of them has been fully canceled, and the other one is on indefinite hiatus while they try to dig themselves out of this horrible hole that they're in.
Yeah,
I do think that this is just all live service games. Nobody wants to play them anymore.
Yeah,
there was, and what doesn't ever add up for me is like, okay, we have evidence that like, you know what genre people don't get tired of? Good single player games.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Every time they say good single player games are over, then a good single player game comes out and it's like
everybody loves
sold
it.
a gajillion.
Like crazy. Yep.
And then they find this fad like, oh, the new game type of games that the kids like are only cans. And so you make only cans and it makes a gajillion dollars. Then everybody makes only can stuff. And then like 3 years later, nobody wants that type of game anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, guys, that is a pattern. Did you not see that coming? That like this style has an end.
Yeah.
Like Halo sucks now.
Yeah.
Halo isn't any good anymore. You were the guys who made Halo and it's no good. Okay, you're making Destiny. Surely you see the player numbers are like, yeah. So
sad.
Yep. All right. We don't have time for, let's see here. We can skip this. We can skip let's skip that. Okay. Let's skip this too. Go read this story about Starfield. Apparently, like Starfield was getting ready to ship, and the lead designer was like, "We don't have a finale. We don't have like an end to this."
They're like, "Oops."
Apparently, the end of the game is all about jumping between dimensions back to places that you've been before, and then apparently, I don't know. Spoiler alert for Starfield, but apparently there's some kind of like, we have to fight these duplicates of ourselves, and it's like, oh. You guys really didn't have time to make like a final boss, and you just were like,
we already have these models. Yeah. Ooh, rough. Bad.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3, there's a new kind of like survival life sim action RPG game being made by the people that made that Disney Dreamlight Valley and Disney Speedstorm.
Okay.
I think you and I played at least one of those.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Speedstorm was the racing game. The Dreamlight Valley was the one where it was like Animal Crossing, but with all the Disney characters.
Yeah. We might have played both of those.
Possibly, but it takes place in the...
I don't know. I get drunk before I come here, so...
Takes place in the... I get drunk while I'm here. In the Forgotten Realms, which is where Baldur's Gate 3 is.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think this is a really good idea. One, survival games are the new hotness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody's into survival games now. Two...
We're all just trying to survive.
Is that... If it's about relationships, Baldur's Gate 3 showed that, like, can you bone down with the people in the game that you like?
That's really all we want in games.
And then 3, throw a little bit of action in there. Yeah, man, sounds like a recipe for success to me. And last but not least, this is really quick. Steam has just implemented a new thing with their family account. So family account means you can share your Steam library with up to 5 people, and they can play the games that are in your Steam library. One of the big caveats used to be that if you were playing anything on my Steam library, I could not. But they have updated it so that now if you are playing Baldur's Gate 3 on my Steam library, I cannot play Baldur's Gate 3.
But you can play,
I can play
anything else. Cool. That's cool.
Which you can share up to 5 people. They did, though, mention that, like, if you are playing Baldur's Gate 3 on my account and you get banned, I am banned.
Yeah.
Everybody is banned on that account. So, yeah. But with that, I think we're going to go ahead and take a break. We've got trailers left to go. We shoved a lot of news into part 2.
Hell yeah, we did.
But we still have more to talk about. So we'll be back in just a minute with the final round of the RageSelect podcast.
Yay.
Whatever that was. I don't know what that was. Here we are. We're back again, and yeah, we got the trailers. The first trailer this week is what I was talking about from the Epic Games thing. We got the first trailer for the Black Panther game, which is the Captain America Black Panther game called Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra. I hate the fact that Marvel makes them put the word Marvel on the front of all of their games.
Did you guys know it was a Marvel game?
Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is they showed this off the Unreal thing because it was all being made with the Unreal Engine 5, and it's pretty cool. It looks like you're gonna be playing as Captain America. You're gonna be fighting them Nazis with Black Panther, and there seems like there's gonna be a I don't know. They're like uneasy allies until
enemies to lovers, you say?
Well, it's like neither one knows who the other one is. So
yeah, it's 1943. None of us know who they are.
Yeah, this was being written by Amy Hennig, who did a lot of the Uncharted games, and then also was working on a Star Wars game that looked really good that EA canceled. So
of course they did.
But yeah, it all looks really good outside of
Cap looking a little more U.S. agent-y.
Yeah, Captain America looks
looking John Walker-y.
Yeah, or like I don't know, kind of a. This is the problem because of all of the like they burned the actors into my brain.
Yeah,
now.
so he doesn't look like Chris Evans. Therefore,
all of my brain says is like, well, we have Captain America at home, and it's Captain America. At home.
Sad.
Yeah, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, all of this is like in game, or it's in engine at least.
Yeah.
Like it was all. They made a point of saying it was all captured like from the actual cutscenes that they've made for the game, as opposed to like
it's
a tech
pretty.
demo.
It's really pretty.
Yeah, they even show kind of at the end in that Unreal thing. They show this part where the two of them are kind of squaring off. They literally take off Black Panther's mask and show like all the voice or all the like acting that's happening underneath it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it looks solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
I mean, there's no gameplay, so who knows? But the cinematicness of it looks cool.
The other thing that's really weird to me is the idea that's like, okay, there's this, and then I think EA Motive is the one that's making like an Iron Man game, who they're actually a really good studio, and then like
you know what ruins Iron Man for me?
What's that?
Like talking about, they've really engraved the actors as those characters. Is that people now, when they portray Iron Man, it's like a shitty Robert Downey Jr. impersonation. And I just wish they wouldn't do that. And they would just let him have like a regular voice. But he always has that Robert Downey-ness to it.
Yeah. Well, also it's like Iron Man was kind of like I read comic books, and Tony Stark wasn't exactly like the world's most fleshed out and interesting character.
There was a Iron Man cartoon, and he wasn't the most fleshed out character in it.
Right. Yeah, but between this and you've got that Iron Man game, you've got the Wolverine game that Naughty Dog is working on, and then Arcane is making a Blade game, and it's
oh my god, I forgot about that. I remember hearing about it.
Yeah, and so all of these,
I do love Blade.
It's like, why couldn't we have gotten the good games when Marvel was still good? Like,
but you can only focus on one thing at a time.
It's like there's a bunch of Star Wars games that are being made right now that look really good, and I'm like, how come we could?
Yeah, why don't we have any Star Wars movies out right now?
Yeah, like I was just.
But then, like when there was a bunch of Star Wars movies, we were like, "Oh, I'm exhausted."
I wasn't. I actually really liked all of them.
I was.
Well, actually, that's not true. I liked exactly half of them.
Yeah.
No, 40%. I liked.
This number keeps going down.
Force
Actually,
Awakens.
it was really like just 2. You know what?
And
I hated him.
I'm the one who liked Solo. I liked the Han Solo movie.
I haven't seen it.
I liked it.
I wish I watched it, but now I never will.
It's
too late for me.
Think that Rogue One I didn't like it very much.
I didn't like Rogue One.
Andor. I was like, how do you got all these characters and there's only like one arc, have fewer characters and more arcs than just like this one character. Anyway, not going back into that.
Oh, he's gonna go back into it, guys.
I'm gonna go back into it in my head. I'm gonna argue with myself. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got okay, so you know that meme where it's like if I had a nickel for every time this happened, I would have 2 nickels,
which isn't a lot, but it's still weird that it happened twice.
Yeah. So we got an introduction to Dragon's Dogma 2 that'll be out by the time it's coming out, presented by Ian McShane.
Who does Ian McShane have a like agent that just gets him these roles, these the gigs?
So I don't know if you know this, but like 3 or 4 weeks ago, there was another video like this that was the history of Tekken with Brian Cox.
Oh, that's who it was. I was like, was that also Ian McShane?
No, but they're just like going through.
But I do remember that. That's what I assumed it was Ian McShane. Because
like
I just always assume it's Ian McShane.
Gravelly actors to explain how these games work to you, and it's just like, I mean, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong.
I'm in. I mean, yeah.
I haven't seen Ian McShane doing anything for a while, so sure.
I mean, he's around. He's in stuff.
But yeah, also this is like 8 minutes long, so it just goes through the entirety of Dragon's Dogma 2 and like what is it.
I've listened to Ian McShane talk about Dragon's Dogma 2 for 8 minutes.
I tell you what is, I want to keep getting more and more ridiculous. Like Ian McShane explaining Dragon's Dogma 2, that makes sense. Brian Cox explaining Tekken, that did not make sense to me.
No.
I was like, is Brian Cox super into Tekken? Like, it's just like,
Maybe.
Sir Patrick Stewart explains... I'm trying to think of a ridiculous example, but I can't.
Michael Wincott explains Stardew Valley 2.
No, the thing is, I tried this Patrick Stewart example, but every game I think up just is
Makes
fine.
sense. Yeah,
it's
you're
fine.
like, actually, you know what?
The first thing out of my head was like Hitman. I was like, no, I would totally listen to that. But yeah, so go check this out. I'm excited for this game. The first one was really strange, and this one seems like
just as strange. Did I just watch somebody explode?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was an arrow hitting somebody. All the
was
reviews.
Was that somebody a propane tank?
No, it was a goblin. I don't know. Maybe they got blood, explodey blood. But Ian McShane didn't tell me. I don't know, Amanda.
Ian, explain yourself.
All the reviews that I've seen so far for this is like, yeah, it was like after they made the first one, the guy that made this just started work on the sequel and didn't bother to like look at anything else happening in video games because it's weird and esoteric and kind of clunky, but like in an interesting way.
Yeah.
Like there's no fast travel, or like fast travel is really hard. Like it's really expensive to do and you can only go between a few places. So it's always about like walking to places.
Yeah.
So then you run into a bunch of fights and stuff.
Yeah. But the real treasure is the journey and not the outcome.
Yeah. And this is the game where you have pawns. Like you create these AI like sidekicks.
Oh, AI? I'm not playing it. It's just
and
evil.
then strangely it uploads all those sidekicks to a server so you can hire the ones from like other people's games.
And God, these monster enemies look fucking great.
Oh yeah, because it's also this crazy thing. This game has a dedicated grab button, and like it starts where you can just like, if there's an enemy, somebody can just grab them and be like, get over here and just stab this guy.
Yeah.
But then they also have like griffins and wyverns and golems that you can like Shadow of the Colossus your way up the side of and stab them in the top of the head.
So nutty. They also can grab the shit out of you too, so
yes,
watch out.
And it's very weird. Like they talk about here how at night, like the undead,
the Skelly boys are out. I love skeletons, man.
And they're like, oh, one undead, that's not a problem. But like, what if there's a whole fucking horde of them coming at your guy?
Those skeletons were literally walking towards him like, have you ever seen Clash of the Titans? It's like, no.
But yeah, it's really interesting and fascinating. And the idea that this franchise of all things got a sequel when the original was like well beloved, but as I understand it, didn't really sell super duper well.
Yeah. I support it.
Yeah, I'm all
I love
it.
the weird shit. Give me more weird.
Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, we should have already recorded some videos.
Oh.
This guy was in the first one. I remember this is like the first boss. This Manticore? Is it Manticore?
I don't remember.
But like The snake on its tail does poison, the goat on its back does magic, and the lion head is like attacking.
That.
And so you can jump and grab the tail and just cut the tail off so that you kill off the poison part.
Yeah.
Like you can kill it a little bit at a time.
Yes to the Manticore thing.
Okay. So yeah, go watch Ian McShane talk about dragons and shit.
Fuck yeah.
Amanda, I know you're not Michael, but there was a Dragon Ball Z.
I wish that you would like believe it though, because I know in your heart you think I am.
There was a Dragon Ball Sparking Zero gameplay showcase last week where they showed off a little bit of the actual game, which appears to my untrained eye to be Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
That Goku guy and that vegetable guy are beating each other up over rocks. Like,
yes,
that happens.
It does.
And then every so often, one of them will power up and his hair changes color, and then he does something even more ridiculous. More punching, more rocks and punching and lasers.
See, who needs Ian McShane explaining Dragon's Dogma when we can have Jeff explaining Dragon Ball?
No, that's what I want. I want Patrick Stewart to explain Dragon Ball to me. I would care about it if Captain Picard was telling me. No, I take it back. I want William Shatner to explain Dragon Ball Z.
Jesus Christ. I don't, nobody wants that.
William Shatner explains Dragon Ball Z. I would do that. It would make a lot of money.
Yeah, I would. But I don't like it.
So yeah, all that looks great for this. Everybody's excited about this new one. It's a thing.
Yep.
They also had a new trailer that showed off a bunch of new characters. So
There's
you had,
a bunny rabbit,
Dispo and Master Roshi and fucking Corncob and Ladybug.
Oh
and,
man, my favorite characters. Those are all the good ones.
Yeah, I don't know who any of these people are. Kakushka, like cat lady, some kind of green cat. Blue hair woman. I know that guy.
Yeah.
He's like a pervert, or he's like horny.
Grandpa got jacked.
He's like a horny grandpa, which is not necessarily a thing. And then you got Nappa and one of the other birder. See, I wasn't off with Ladybug and fucking. They're all food.
My name is Birder, and I'm here to murder.
They're all named after food.
Topo.
They're all named after food, and if you don't recognize what the word is, it's probably some Japanese root vegetable.
That's fair.
That everybody knows about. Anyway, you guys can ask Michael; he'll tell you all about it. Come to the Discord server and ask Michael about the.
Hey, Michael, real quick.
Sparking,
and then 6 hours later,
Super Saiyan Kale Berserk.
What the fuck? Popeye the Sailor Man eats a lot of spinach. Berserker.
Super Saiyan Broly, full power. Come on, Amanda. All your favorites are here. Hit.
Nice.
So, yeah. Dragon Ball. That's a thing.
It is a thing. It's been a thing.
We also found out this week that there is a demo for Sandland, the other Toriyama game that is coming out pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh, I remember us talking about this.
Yeah. Michael and I played this demo for a Patreon video.
Yeah.
And there was not much to do outside of just kind of walk around and shoot at stuff.
Just wander, yeah.
But it was interesting because it was like a third-person action open-world thing, as opposed to either an arena battler like Sparking Zero or like an RPG like Kakarot. It was something that Toriyama's worked on that was a little bit more oh, that's kind of weird and interesting.
Yeah.
It's like a Fury Road, but there's demons.
Yeah.
And then they drive around like mech suits and motorcycles and tanks and shit and kick ass.
Yeah.
So,
I remember, I think I was on the podcast when the first trailer came out. And I remember being like, not interested. Dragon Ball related, not interested. And then saw it and was like, actually, it kind of looks cool.
Yeah, I'm still looking for the Toriyama property that I get really excited about.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball didn't do it for me. I like Chrono Trigger. I mean, he did like that. Dragon Quest, I'm not really a big fan of that, but I don't know. I mean, with his passing away, there's a guy that I watch that does these he did kind of retrospective about his entire career.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going back and reading some of the manga that he did, as opposed to trying to watch the cartoons or play games to just be like, I'm just at my own pace. He's a great artist, and sometimes I feel like when they have to animate his stuff, a lot of the early
it gets a little lost in translation between one and the other. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. This looks pretty cool. Go download the demo if you're into it. Let's see. Speaking of anime, we got the announcement of a solo leveling game. So Solo Leveling is a new anime that's out right now. I think you said John is watching
John's
this,
watching
right?
it, yeah.
It's like based on a Korean, I think, the light novel or manga, where it's about like a world where people have to fight monsters and only this one guy can actually get stronger from doing it. Like everybody else has a
like a set limit
power level. Yeah. I mentioned this because I think people might be interested in checking it out, but it looks like utter trash. Like it's launching on iPhone, Android, and PC, and it's like, well, also the first season of the anime isn't even like halfway through. I think. Like,
yeah, I don't think so.
It's very early days for them to be going the full here's a video game route. Like, I don't even know. I would actually be worried about spoiling myself, considering the anime is still ramping up. We haven't even gotten like into there's not even been a tournament arc yet. Come on. But that's out right now. So
get it and enjoy it, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe. We also got a character teaser for Nico Mata in Zenless Zone Zero. This is a game for the people, Hoyoverse, the people that make Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. I actually got this because I thought it would. I love their character design. I thought it would be interesting, but it's just a damn motion comic. About this cyber cat lady beating up a bunch of dudes with her cat powers.
She's cute though.
She got 2 tails. But
like tails.
It's like these gang members have like captured a bunch of people.
We don't like cats, and then they murder her.
And she shows up, and they're like, "You should come in here, Nikamata." And then she like throws cat food at them, and then like a bunch of cats come out and like mob the mobsters, and then she just lets the people go, and that's like the end of it. And I was like, why did I click on this?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a sign up for another beta going on, so if you're interested, maybe go do that. Fortnite got there's like a Hades. They're adding Hades into the new season of Fortnite. It's all about Greek gods and stuff.
Nice.
So had a real quick little teaser.
That's cool.
Showing Hades. That's pretty cool. You know what? No matter what, I really appreciate. I don't know if they're overworked or underpaid or what, but like the art department at Epic is great.
Yeah,
like
they put a lot into it.
They have this kind of unified style that people are like, everything looks like Fortnite. And I'm like, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like if that's how things are going to look, because
if they're going to insert a lot of things into Fortnite, to have a universal look to it, I think that actually makes sense because it makes it like streamline a little more.
Yep, absolutely.
It's pleasing to the eyes.
Strange tie-in thing or strange licensed thing that I had no idea was a thing, but apparently they're making another Jay and Silent Bob beat 'em up game.
Oh,
Called Jay and Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch. I don't know if this was the same one that was like announced a long time ago.
I don't know.
But it's like they put out a little animated teaser for it, and it's pretty. I mean, the animation is nice on it. It's pretty cool looking, and they show the game, and it's bright, it's colorful. It looks like it's got a lot of the characters from the View of Skewniverse or whatever they call it.
God, I haven't thought about Kevin Smith in a while.
Yeah, so. I don't know, though it looks like a pretty decent fighting game.
Yeah, could be fun. Oh God, Jay did the Wolverine,
and
thing.
But I don't even recognize what's going on here for the most part. Like, I don't know who these characters are. I know who Jay and Silent Bob are. Then they turn into Bluntman and Chronic at the end. But I don't understand why or what or.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh? So
I don't know any of those characters.
This is being made by the same company that made the last beat 'em up game, and that was pretty good. Michael played all the way through it and told me it was pretty decent. So I don't know, weird though, just weird.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
I mean, it's fine. Kevin Smith is the poor man's George Lucas in the sense that he will sell out anytime he's given the opportunity.
I mean. He doesn't have any movies anymore, though, right? Like he just he just used up all the funding. Does he have another thing?
He did.
Last thing I remember was Yoga Hosers.
No, he did Clerks 3. He did. Chainsaw Bob rebooted.
Oh, I never watched Clerks 3.
And neither did I.
Oh.
Which is crazy because I loved the first two. Like I
thought Clerks 2 was better than Clerks 1, to be honest.
I agree entirely. I think it's great to have a life journey like that.
Yeah.
I think it works. I don't know if the third one continues it. I hope it does, but I also kind of think he became a little shittier afterwards. So
I know what he did. It came out 2 weeks ago. The next Masters of the Universe series on Netflix.
Oh, that's right.
He was doing those. And he did the first one where the first half got everybody all pissy, and then the second half, I thought it was all fine, to be honest. But people were like, "This He-Man show is about He-Man." I'm like, as somebody who watched He-Man as a child, I've had enough He-Man. I could use a different story, but yeah. I will say though, the Jay and Silent Bob reboot was abysmal. It was so bad.
It was like a love letter to the fans, but only like the weed smoking fans.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a weed guy, and I'm not a like stoner humor person necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I just liked his movies back in the day. I was a big fan. Met him a couple of times. And it just, I don't know. It just didn't speak to me like his other stuff.
I think also he's probably moving into that part of his life where he's just like, I own a comic book store and I've got a successful podcast and I'm just kind of done.
He started like drinking his own Kool-Aid, which I think is the problem. Because like he was a real self-deprecating dude, and he still is in a sense, but I do think that like he really let the like 90s nostalgia nerds be like, you're like the greatest and all your ideas are amazing and fun and like, oh, you can really do anything, and like I could sit and listen to you talk for hours. And he really like believed all of it.
Oh, I also think the weed smoking didn't help. I think the weed
smoking didn't help. I think moving to California didn't help.
Nope.
Like he became a California fucking douchebag, and then and it's fine. Whatever. Everyone has their own journeys. I don't give a shit. Some of his movies I kind of like. Some of his movies I kind of don't. But like,
dude, entertain me like 5 times. That's enough. I don't care. Do what you want with your life.
There are some people that have made many more movies than Kevin Smith, and none of them were entertaining.
Very true.
Zack Snyder. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Okay.
Oh God, whatever it is, I'm in.
There's some weird. I got this one just for you, Amanda.
Yeah, I'm in.
This is Duck Detective: The Secret Salami, a very short game about a detective who is a duck. He is a
duck
he makes
detective.
Deductions.
I love it.
And he's going around to a bunch of like animals and trying to figure out who stole the salami out of the break room.
I feel like this is
by looking at the people, looking at these crazy animals.
This looks amazing.
And making deductions about that. There's no animation. They're just like stickers.
Yeah, they're like little paper guys.
Yep.
Oh my God, but the drawings on them are so cute.
But this this crocodile.
A little duck with a little tie.
Yep.
Like disheveled.
Yep.
He's like Columbo, but a duck.
Yep. Coming 2024, The Duck Detective: Secret Salami. I was like,
I'm in.
This is an Amanda game. There you go.
We're gonna play full sequential, only on Patreon.
I think it's gonna be a pretty short game. So
yeah, well, unintentional. Sequential.
Absolutely.
I like to do those accidental like 2-shot.
Yeah, maybe we should do one of these for Patreon. Oh shit!
Oops. You're welcome.
Right.
Yeah, we've done it before.
We got a trailer for a new trailer for Fallen Aces. I am big into this. This is from New Blood, the people that made like Dusk and some of those other like crazy games. I think you might have seen this before. It's like a gangster thing, but it's very kind of like low rent with these weird kind of cartoon graphics where you're kind of grabbing people and giving them the old Jack Johnson.
Yeah, very like pulpy.
Yeah. There's a part where there's like a drive-by, and it's got all these really beautiful, like, kind of retro comic panels for the story.
Oh, I dig this.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
I would love to have a game like this, but it's like The Shadow or The Phantom or Dick Tracy.
Yeah. This was mostly an advertisement to, episode 1 out this spring. So probably they're going to do episodic. So we'll have to check that out when it comes out.
Nice.
I like New Blood a lot. They made some very fun games.
Nice, yeah.
So. Yep. Let's see. There was some kind of like this kind of funny spring showcase that had a bunch of videos, and I decided like,
were they just like, I don't know, the weird ones?
Well, there was like, I think I remember this coming up, but it was like I looked at all of them and I was like, I'm only interested in like a few of these. So anyway. Another one of the ones though from that was Squirrel with a Gun. This trailer is done as like a nature documentary where they're talking about the majestic squirrel, and then they kind of like
that's amazing.
Go on to like but sometimes if a squirrel feels threatened, it will get like a gun. And
did he just wave goodbye to that guy before shooting him?
He flipped him off. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he flipped him off. That's amazing.
Like there's no blood, but like just John Wick executions from this squirrel.
That's amazing.
I can't wait.
He's got a little outfit.
Yeah, they've got a lot of outfits.
Oh my God. As somebody who lives by a lot of trees where there are a lot of squirrels, I guarantee that if they could figure out how to use a gun, they would use a gun.
Little bastards. I like the fact, I mean, we've seen this before, but I like the fact that the guns are used for like platforming.
Yeah. Rocket jumping.
I love the scream that the squirrel. Yeah, this looks like a definite RageSelect endorsed video game. It's a squirrel. It's got a gun. It's called Squirrel with a Gun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's coming out this fall.
Look, we're very simple-minded people, and if you give us just Squirrel with a Gun, we're probably going to enjoy it.
I'm like, Squirrel with a Gun, Duck Detective,
I like animals doing dumb shit.
Well, there are no animals, or maybe there are. I don't know. But Crow Country got a
Sounds like
date.
There's animals, Jeff. It's called Crow Country.
Throwback PS1 style horror game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a horror game, but with these really kind of like low rent graphics, which is interesting. I remember this getting pointed out to me a little ways back. I always find it interesting how horror can be like very detailed or very simple.
Yeah.
And sometimes very simple works even better than super detailed. So, but
the monster designs are funny.
Yeah. Coming out in May 9th.
Yeah.
PS5, also on the PC. So, we also got a console release date for another kind of game or horror-ish game called Stasis: Black Totem. This is like
that says Bone Totem.
Bone Totem. Sorry, not Black Totem. Bone Totem. This is a adventure game like on a ship or like underwater. I passed over this game a whole bunch of times. Looking it up on the PC as like, should we play this game? Should we not play this game? It got like pretty universally like good. Pretty universally good trailers.
Yeah.
Or reviews.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain doesn't work. But yes, it's coming out on May 28th on the consoles, so it might be worth looking at there. It really has a lot of like old school adventure game vibes.
Like point and click adventure or
sort of. Yeah, you're kind of running around in that kind of like looking down isometric view, and then you're picking stuff up and trying to figure stuff out. So I don't know. I mean, as I said, it was well beloved on the PC. And
interesting.
It looks moody and atmospheric. It reminds me of that Underwater a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that made that, he's kind of like a new movie out this week about like soldier guys. I was thinking about watching it, but I just ran out of time. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'll watch it next week. Also, we've talked about Harold Halibut?
Yes.
Okay. Harold Halibut got a full-on release date. It didn't have one.
Oh, nice. When? Skip to the end.
April 16th, my birthday. I knew it was some day.
Yay! You're like mildly important.
Yeah. Well, there's not like a big release right now on my birthday, but yeah, this is the one that's like they built all of the little characters and 3D scanned them, and it just ends up with this really
like
unique,
smooth claymation.
Yeah.
Not stop animation, baby.
It looks like stop animation, but smoother than you've ever seen stop animation before. So
they're clay models that got scanned into the game.
Yep.
It looks cool.
Looks very cool. Let's see. From there, here's a game that you and I played. Planet of Lana, which was the one where you have the little it's like the robots invade.
Yeah, and they kidnap like everyone in your town and you're trying to hide them, hide from them.
Meet the little like little monster guy who's your buddy.
Yeah, it's like Cat Demon or something.
Yeah, little like black floof thing.
Yeah. Well, he's a good boy though.
So yeah, it's coming to the PlayStation.
Nice.
Also on April 16th.
Highly recommend.
So
that was kind of a nice game.
Mm-hmm. We got a 5-minute pre-launch trailer for Eiyuden Chronicle. This is the spiritual successor to Suikoden, which was like an old JRPG where you had to amass an actual army of like 50 or 60 people, and every one of them had like a little quest that you had to go on. So it was like this big, huge cast of characters. Eiyuden Chronicle: 100 Heroes. It has 100.
God damn. I don't want to meet 100 people. I don't want to meet 100 people in real life. You want me to collect 100 characters?
They look kind of crazy. Like there's regular people. There's like wolf dudes.
Yeah.
I know there was like a kangaroo man and like the little they had like a prequel that they put out. There's one point here where they show these like some banditos. These guys,
Shark Man,
but they all have they're just like their heads are just straight up.
Yeah, they're like we did not make them street sharks.
Yeah,
they are all looking at the sky.
Yes, like just all the time.
Literally, if you took a shark toy and just held it sideways.
Yep. So pretty cool. This was a Kickstarter that was like very successful. Though these are magical girls.
There's always magical girls.
They literally do like little magical girl triple attack pose stuff.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if this is able to pique my interest. So
there's so many characters.
Yep. There's a capybara man. Yeah. And like a big muscle mommy demon lady.
There's got to be at least one out of 100.
And there's like a card game. And I don't know, what doesn't this game have?
Yeah, seriously. They had Beyblades for a second there.
Yeah. So yeah, that is coming out, I believe, April 23rd. So, and then last but not least, we got the announcement of the next Fatal Fury Call of the Wolves, which was announced but didn't have any real like gameplay. But we got like a little kind of gameplay trailer, and then an announcement that it is coming out, I believe, later this year is the answer. Early 2025.
So not later this year.
Early next year. But yeah, this is a franchise that people are
hyped about.
Super into.
Yeah, for sure. Never got into it, but I do know the hype.
Yeah. Well, I got into a little bit of King of Fighters, but I wasn't able to ever. This one, the kind of Garu, Mark of the Wolves, never did that one. So, yep.
Looks nice, huh?
That's our trailers.
Nice.
Let's see. In other news, we found out some of the Xbox Game Pass games for the rest of this month. One of them's Diablo. We already knew that. But one of them, and by the time this is out, actually, as of the day we're recording this, it's already there, is Evil West. And everybody should play Evil West because Evil West fucking rules.
Nice.
Evil West was the like weird Western third-person action game that was made by Flying Wild Hog that made the Shadow Warrior games.
Yeah.
And it's just pure, unadulterated cowboys versus vampires trying to save Grover. You work for Grover Cleveland's supernatural special forces division.
Amazing.
And your dad gets bitten by a vampire, and there's like vampire lords, and then like people from the who are those guys? The Pinkertons and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's all that, and it's awesome. Like we did a full sequential for it.
With who?
That's what I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Rude. You don't remember? You play how many episodes was it, Jeff, that you don't even remember who you were next to?
I think it was.
Was it me?
It was Matt. It was Matt. It was Matt. It was 2023 and it was Matt.
Can you imagine if it was me and you're like, you didn't even fucking remember?
It was a year ago. It was 1 year ago and it was Matt. So yeah, but
wow, I'm gonna tell Matt that you did not even remember.
We've been through a lot since then.
Me and Matt have been through so much.
They also are putting the Quarry, the horror game, is on Game Pass right now.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then there's some other stuff. I don't know. Super Hot's coming out April 2nd.
Super Hot.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. They're doing a Riven remake. by the same people that did Cyan, the people that make Myst, right? They did the remake of Myst. They've done 100 remakes of Myst at this point.
Yeah.
But they're actually doing like a full-on remake of Riven in the same way, where they're going to have VR support and like whole 9 yards. So, it's starting to rain. It's coming down.
Like dead silent outside, and then all of a sudden, all the rain fell all at once. I don't know Riven. I know Myst a little bit, but I don't know Riven at all.
Riven is the sequel.
Oh, okay, that's funny.
So it was just the sequel to Myst was called Riven.
And they kept not doing it. They're like, we're only sticking to the first one.
Well, actually, there's kind of a heartwarming detail in here of like there was like a fan team that was doing their own remake, and when Cyan decided to do this, they contacted them and then they actually took some of their work and they're going to like consensually like add it in, like some of the stuff they've already done to help with it, to be like, yeah, you've done a good job. We're going to put it in there and then we'll take it from here. Yeah. So your work wasn't wasted. Because
did they buy it from them or?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But
sometimes fans that do labors of love like this kind of don't mind. Sorry.
People can't hear the thunder through the microphone.
Just like shook a little bit. Yep. It's all right.
We're on the second level. The Animal Well got a release date. This is the first one from Video Game Donkey's publishing arm that's like this kind of spooky Metroidvania where you play as this little like blobbo where there's these like these animals that you're kind of trying to figure out how to get around them without getting eaten.
Animal blobbo. Yeah.
So... yeah, but it didn't have a release date up until now. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, like I really appreciated that. Game Grumps were the ones that were behind Homebody, right?
Yes,
that was them. I like the idea of YouTubers that make a lot of money publishing
video games. Yeah,
especially gaming YouTubers to be like, well, I know a thing about games. I'm going to look for a project that I think would be successful. Yeah, and then help to fund it with all the money I've got laying around.
Yeah, I believe what Game Grumps did was they found or made friends with somebody that was like an indie developer, and then just have backed his project.
Okay,
like I think it's the same person that they just like fund him to do whatever he feels like doing.
I'm trying to figure out whether that
I'm not 100. I don't like quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did you see this part where like it goes underground to escape this ostrich, and then it's like
head just keeps
coming?
going. Yeah. Oh man, this is really pretty. Like this is my jam visually. I don't know if I
these scan lines.
Yeah, it's just like the coloring is really nice. The like line artiness of them. They almost look like neon signs.
They're very simple pixel, but also very like interesting lighting to everything.
It's
like
really
very
pretty. I really like that.
Very striking. Well, May 9th.
May 9th.
There you go. So apparently Marathon, I should have put these in the different order. Marathon is one of Bungie's old games. It was a Mac-only game. There's a team that's been making a remake of it to put on Steam, and apparently they're set to put it out this year. So before that Marathon reboot comes out, this will come out. The weird thing here is that Bungie put out the Marathon 2 toolkit for free and said anybody can use it.
Yeah.
And so this team started remaking this old game, and Bungie gave them their blessing and said,
yeah, go for it.
Go for it. We don't even care about this anymore. So it's going to be free when it comes out, which is interesting.
That's cool. Yeah. We like free here.
Yeah, I'd be interested. It's funny though because this is the old version. It used to be that you played the game in this little window, and then like all of this huge surrounding area was taken up with like UI elements.
Yeah,
but they've done some work to kind of change it to look like a little bit more streamlined. So I'd be interested in playing it because I never knew what Marathon was all about.
Yeah,
like it was Bungie before they got locked into Halo. I was always interested, but never got a chance to play it. Also, Alpha Protocol is back. So this is Obsidian Entertainment made a spy game. It was like a Mass Effect Choices Matter super spy game, and some people like really like it, and some people like really don't like it.
Yeah, and
some people love to hate it, and some people hate to love it. So it got delisted in 2019 due to rights issues with, I believe, the music, and GOG finally made a deal with Sega to like remix it. They also put in, they didn't do any like graphical upgrades, but it works with modern controllers and it works on like Windows 10, and so but yeah, it's out on GOG, which is great because, as mentioned in this article a few weeks back, Warner Brothers Discovery is like delisting games from Steam. Like,
can we all agree? Fuck Warner Brothers Discovery.
I will say, fuck David Zaslav in particular.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big fan of people who are like, you know what I'm going to use my power to do? Take stuff away from you.
Yeah, I'm gonna gut out art.
Yep.
So that I can make a little bit more money.
I'm going to close down this museum and throw everything into storage.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, did you want to see that? Well,
Not
you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Fuck
Air conditioning costs too much. All right, let's wrap it up with a few fun things. Actually, we're going to be right on time.
Nice.
Helldivers 2 has some merch, including one that I might buy, which is a mug that says, how about a nice cup of liberty?
Yeah.
Which is something that they scream in Helldivers all the time.
Yeah.
And is amazing. They also have some shirts. One says, like, Sweet Liberty, my leg.
That's funny.
There's also some other, there's also one that has just like the button input for one of the orbital strikes on it and stuff like that.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah, they're all kind of like, that's fine. But you know what? Like, a sensible Chuckle coffee mug is something that I would actually use in my house.
Yeah.
I would never actually wear a shirt that had writing on it. I'm not a billboard. I'm not here to advertise your video game.
I'm literally wearing a John Carpenter t-shirt right now, so I 100% am here to advertise everything. I'm for sale. Devolver bought me a tattoo. I am literally for sale. Just so we're clear.
You hear that, Helldivers?
The difference between you and I is that I will sell my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Rage. Yeah, so they have a store now. You can buy that stuff.
Hell yeah.
If you want. I actually didn't look, but like, which one of these links is the store? Okay. Yeah. What was that? How do you like the taste of freedom? That's a pretty good shirt.
Yeah. So here's my problem with these shirts. Some of them, a lot of mentions of freedom and liberty make me real nervous to wear in public.
In Texas.
Yeah. It's just like, there's like a whole different audience for that.
Yeah.
It's like, I really like reading The Punisher, but I'm not going to read it in front of anybody. Are you kidding me?
What's an allegory? What's satire?
Yeah. So, no.
Yep. Let's see. If you're interested in some custom merch, Xbox is giving away a vault-themed Xbox that comes in an actual vault, like an actual safe.
Shipping must cost a fortune.
Well, you can't buy it. You can only win it. So I'm sure they made like two.
Even better, yeah.
Because, apparently it's like actually locks like vault.
They're like, we don't give you the code until you win.
And then the inside is like just enough room for an Xbox One, Series X, and a controller. And it's got a little Pip-Boy on it.
That's cute.
I don't know. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I like the Fallout. Really likes doing the little weird merch stuff.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Hey, at least this one works. They had a Final Fantasy 14 branded one that's like a little statue with little rings around it. Doesn't actually work. Isn't actually an Xbox. It's just like it's for display purposes only.
Weird.
And I'm like, you guys have gotten weird. I want it to work.
Yeah.
Like it's got to work first, and then I'll display it where you can see it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not gonna buy a Xbox and then have a display Xbox.
Right.
What fucking weird shit is that?
Like, yeah. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Do they have like some better shots of what the actual Xbox looks like for this? Because now
these
are just rules and regulations. It's hard to see in this picture.
I
don't know. It looks like
foil from here.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I know exactly what that is. They had a controller. What it is it's like a white controller, and then it's got this. It's like a collage of different Pip-Boys doing things in line art on it.
From here, at a distance with my bad eyeballs, it looks like foil. It looks like white foil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it just looks like crinkle. But line art on white from this distance makes sense.
Fallout controller.
Boop, boop.
I think these are kind of these aren't the best.
Yeah.
But like this is what it looks like. Is all these little Pip Boys.
That's cute. Sorry,
it doesn't scream Fallout to me. Like I would rather it look like a wasteland, garbage kind of thing. So
I want it to look like garbage.
Yeah. And then last but not least, speaking of Fallout, we got our first scene from the Fallout TV show that's happening. Did you watch this by any chance?
I watched the teaser and was like, looks like shit. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, all right, it looks really good. But I haven't seen this clip.
They played the ink spots.
Yeah.
So
I did have issue with the first song they chose, and I'm like, this game has such a specific, like the teaser didn't use the ink spots.
Yeah.
And I was like, but
why?
The soundtrack is so iconic. And then when they put out the first trailer, it was like, it was the ink spots, and I was like, okay.
This is a pretty funny scene. It's like the Vault Dweller character kind of facing down Walton Goggins' character.
Yeah.
And she's like very explicitly explaining why she's justified to attack him because she's like out in the world and doesn't understand how the wasteland works.
Yeah.
So she's like justifying herself. And then like she shoots him with like a tranquilizer dart. And he has that line from the actual trailer where he's just like, that's a very small drop in a very large ocean of drugs.
Yeah.
Which I forgot, like, oh yeah, people in Fallout do drugs all the time. I don't do them when I play.
Yeah, but
like,
it is
they're
like
everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
When she's explaining it, like the lady from the shop is like, fucking vault dwellers, because they come off as like horrible relics because they grew up all in this like environment. Now and at the end, this Brotherhood of Steel armor comes in. Little shaky on the flying. Little. It's hard a lot of times with something like that vault armor for it not to, like, I kind of wish that they'd crapped up everything in this series a little bit more.
Yeah.
I kind of wish that, like, before they started every scene, they just had somebody with a bucket of
throw dirt on them,
water that just splashed
a little
everybody.
Bit of rust or something. Give them that grime.
Especially like.
It's weird.
Walton Goggins is too smooth. Like he needs to be a little bit more folly party.
He was very like glistening. You know what I mean? Yeah. He got polished up a little too much, a little too Red Skull, and not enough mutant. Or
right, like
called.
He needed like the parts falling off from the ghouls, kind of like a zombie.
Yeah,
with like sores and like open wounds and gross shit.
Yeah, I guess one, it looks like it might be easier prosthetic than that.
Yeah,
and two, maybe they're just like, we got to look at him a couple of times. She looks fucking. Is it just me? She looks weird.
What do you mean?
She looks
like as a person.
Yeah, like as a human being. What was that movie?
Is it about Battle Angel Alita where they made her eyes big?
Yes.
Yes.
She's the actual version of that.
She kind of reminds me of Christina Ricci a little bit.
Yeah,
with the big bug eyes.
Yeah. I mean, she's like a very beautiful woman, but she looks fucking not real. She literally looks like a created character. You know what I mean?
She's an AI.
Yeah.
You put Wednesday Addams into ChatGPT.
Like somebody just like when they were creating their character just hit like random and this is what came out. And it's like fine and functional for the game, but it's also very funny that they found a human that looks like a created character.
Yeah. I don't know. They're putting out all the episodes at once. I was complaining about that, where I'm like, I think that this would work better as a week by week.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the time or personality traits of somebody that can binge watch a television show, but I will watch like a show if you give it to me as episodes. I have a better time of like every Wednesday this show comes out and we sit down and we watch it. I'm old like that. I can only do the way I was trained on television. Mm-hmm. And when they make it bingeable, it's actually worse for me and I'm less likely to watch it because I want to enjoy it in a way that I enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And other people will be like, the whole series came out 3 days ago. You didn't watch the whole thing. I'm sorry. You're going to find out that this person died and that person did this. And it's just like... Okay.
It's the difference between like, oh, here's an 8-hour commitment and here's like a 1-hour commitment for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I have an extra hour. I don't know that I have an extra 8 hours, the gentleman. I like you, but like, I like that Invincible is week by week. Yeah. I watched the new one of those last week and it was good.
Yeah.
I like Invincible. So.
I mean, I think it just works better, but I understand other people are more like, it's the weekend. I'm just going to sit down and fucking watch a whole show.
Yeah. I don't know. I personally think that like if you look at the numbers that not being able to binge the whole thing on day one has never stopped anybody if they like the show.
Yeah.
Whereas being able to binge the entire thing makes the discourse happen in 1 week and then done, and then nobody's talking about the gentleman, right?
I think that is a Netflix curse that they started, and they've created where metrics only make sense or matter in the first week.
Yes.
And so it's just people like me get like thrown behind. But I also wonder how many people are like me now.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, they also Netflix now has shows that come out once a week, because like I'm watching Delicious in Dungeon, which is the new Studio Trigger anime. That's released every week, one episode at a time, as opposed to all at once. But maybe that's just because they're like, if we want to have any actual anime like that are current anime, we have to do what everybody else does and release the new episode a week at a time instead of just like everything all at once. So I don't know.
I don't either.
I mean, here's the thing. I said it earlier. Did you know there was a new season of Masters of the Universe on Netflix?
No, I didn't know.
Has anybody talking about that at all? Have you heard about it at all?
No, not at all.
I didn't until I was like, why is this on the new? And then I started it and I was like, oh, this is new.
But you know what sucks too, though, is that Netflix, I haven't had it in a while, but like when I did have Netflix, and I think HBO does it too, where it'll say like new episodes, and then you'll click and there aren't any. It's like we put up like a 30-minute documentary about it.
Yep.
And that's it. And so like sometimes something new will come on and it'll be like the next season or whatever. And I don't trust that. And I'm not going to fucking investigate every single time.
Sure.
Because they do it a lot.
Well, and Netflix too, it was like Netflix will keep that new tag on there for like 3 months.
Yeah. It's like not new anymore.
Not new at all. Thank you very much. That's it. We're done. Patreon.com/RageSelect. I mean, you know, it's raining. It's thundering.
Yeah. I'm like, I got to get home. I'm going to get hit
You got to get out into the night. Good luck. Everybody wish Amanda good luck. And we'll catch you next time with another brand new. Nope, that's no. It's I said at the end of a dojo. What do I say at the end of the podcast?
I'm sorry.
Get out of my house. Both the audience and you, Amanda. Get out. Get out.